She was clearly a mature, yet stunning insect matriarch. But now she chose, without the slightest hesitation, to become Jiang Chen's contract beast. Seeing this, the classmates all cast disdainful looks at him. Yet, Jiang Chen only sneered because none of them knew the truth. The being before them was once the mother of all insects, who ruled an entire human epoch. And as long as she kept devouring and evolving, she could breed an enormous Zerg legion for him. This world operated on universal class change. 30,000 years ago, the will of heaven manifested. Blue star size expanded tens of thousands of times, and powerful monsters descended with dungeon rifts. After a period of chaos, the first generation of class holders emerged among humanity. The first awakeners destroyed the portals on Blue Star with overwhelming might, saving humanity from extinction. To prevent monsters from returning, nations began cultivating new generations of class holders. At age 18, everyone undergoes talent awakening. Classes fall into combat, support, or lifestyle. Combat, being the most practical, became the most popular choice. Support followed due to its buff abilities. As for lifestyle classes, lacking combat power, they were dismissed and relegated to logistics roles. After class change, talents are graded as common, rare, hidden, or god tier. Today was Jiang Chen's awakening day. He stood before the awakening altar, waiting for the energy crystal to activate. When he opened his eyes again, a terrifying light burst from the crystal, and an eerie celestial vision engulfed the entire city. A colossal divine tree rose straight into the heavens. The old principal hurried onto the altar, suppressing his usual authority. I never expected we'd see a god-tier awakener this year. Jiang, you truly live up to your top-rank theory scores. Hearing the principal's words, Jiang Chen turned his head. I'm afraid I'll disappoint you, principal. The class I awakened into isn't a combat class. As soon as he spoke, the principal's eyes flashed with shock. He muttered, almost instinctively, impossible, could it be an auxiliary class? If it's a god-tier auxiliary, that wouldn't be too bad. At least he could shine in dungeons. Jiang Chen spread his hands helplessly. In fact, I awakened into a life class, god-tier spirit nurturer. My talent mainly accelerates the growth of plants and small animals. The principal's expression froze instantly. His brows tightened as he sighed. Life classes have no combat ability. Even if it's god tier, it must be excluded from top student selection. In that case, your guaranteed admission is likely gone. Top academies have never taken life class students. Students watching nearby couldn't help sneering. Such a terrifying heavenly phenomenon. And it turns out to be just a life class. Jiang Chen pretended to look dejected as he walked down the awakening platform. But where they couldn't see, the corner of his lips lifted slightly. His soul actually came from another parallel Earth and reincarnated here after an accident. His parents had died in an accident when he was young. To survive in this power-oriented world, he buried himself in studying every piece of theory about professioners. Perhaps his diligence moved fate. Not long ago, he awakened the Zerg system, allowing him to control a species long extinct. Although he currently had only one brood mother, 9 miasma wings, one must remember, the Zerg had slaughtered countless human powerhouses in the last era. It was said 12 human kings had to sacrifice 9 of their own to seal the Zerg completely. His consciousness then followed the guiding force of his awakening into another space. It was the origin space formed by his soul sea merging with his newfound ability. The ancient tree before him was the external manifestation of his talent. 3 system windows appeared before his eyes. Class talent evolution of all things, usable once every 10 days on a single target. Fruits of all things, which accumulate growth energy through kills and drop special fruits upon maturity. Accelerated growth, an active skill that boosts the growth of living beings by 10%. On the surface, a god-tier spirit nurturer seemed powerless, but to him, it was irreplaceable. The Zerg breeding cycle was extremely long. Speeding it up meant he could build his own swarm army. With a single thought, he channeled his energy and summoned the Calamity tier brood mother, 9 miasma wings. She was his first brood mother, said to have been born in the deepest Een lands, with a dark purple body and 9 wings. On her back grew 9 wings, and when necessary, she could transform into a cloud of purple miasma, thus the name 9 miasma wings. A system prompt appeared, informing Jiang Chun that the broodmother's first evolution requirement had been met. Seeing this, he lifted his hand and pressed the confirmation button. In the next moment, the space before him was completely engulfed by a glowing veil. The shell on 9 miasma wings' body peeled away slowly, and in an instant she fully transformed into a human form. A soft chime followed. The broodmother had completed her life ascension and obtained 3 new abilities. Rebirth feedback returns 10 times experience to the host. Venom transforms into toxic miasma that corrodes all life. Bonded growth increases the host's overall attributes by 20%. Satisfaction flashed across Jiang Chen's face. As expected, the God-tier Spirit Nurturer class was tailor-made for the Zerg system. It accelerated brood reproduction. The broodmother's feedback sped up his leveling, and it even boosted his attributes by 20%. At this rate, as long as he kept slaying and devouring fast enough, it wouldn't be long before he possessed a massive Zerg army. But the Zerg were an absolute taboo on Blue Star. Being discovered could easily mean death. So he could only let 9 miasma wings stay in her toxic mist form as cover. Suddenly, a disturbance rippled through the inner space. A dangerous gleam flashed through the broodmother's eyes. She warned him that a powerful consciousness was probing his mind sea. Before she finished speaking, his awareness collapsed back into the real world. A burly man now stood before him. With a cold tone, the man asked the awakening phenomenon the whole city saw. Was that caused by you? Jiang Chun couldn't utter a word. The man was continuously releasing oppressive pressure toward him. His strength was at least master tier or higher. Jiang Chun did not answer the man's question. Instead, he focused his will and confronted him head-on. But at that moment, the broodmother 9 miasma wings suddenly emerged from his mind sea, detected a hostile life form threatening the master. Xiaojia will immediately devour the target. Jiang Chen's pupils contracted sharply as he sensed danger. In an instant, an invisible pressure spread through the surroundings. All the students nearby felt an overwhelming, suffocating force. Fortunately, at the final moment, he managed to suppress 9 miasma wings' killing intent. If her existence were exposed, he might be taken away and buried alongside her. But this reminded him, he needed to feed her more monsters as soon as possible. Higher devour value meant weaker aggression. The burly man let out a cold snort. You just completed your class change and can already withstand my probe. And even think of counterattacking? As expected of a legendary God-tier class. Not bad. Hearing this, Jiang Chun exhaled silently. It seemed the man hadn't discovered his secret and had mistaken 9 miasma wings' killing intent for a counterattack. The man then stopped beating around the bush. He explained he had come to invite Jiang Chun to join the Night Watchers, and that he himself was their commander, Ami Jigong. The Night Watchers were a daxia organization specializing in handling monsters and beast tides. Whenever a beast tide or a new dungeon entrance appeared, they were the first to investigate. Due to the extreme danger, most people were unwilling to join. But for Jiang Chun, it was exactly what he needed. The broodmother required constant devouring of monsters to build devour value, and only by joining the Night Watchers could he obtain chances to slay higher-tier monsters. And once the devour value was full, the broodmother would begin producing offspring, and the wild dungeons were the perfect place to hide and nurture a Zerg swarm. At this moment, Ami Jigong noticed the confusion in Jiang Chen's eyes and immediately reassured him, saying that although the Night Watchers were more dangerous than other organizations, as long as Jiang Chen joined, he would personally ensure the best resources for him. Jiang Chen returned from his thoughts. Hearing this, he firmly grasped Ami Jigong's extended hand. Commander Jigong, no need for more words. I, Jiang Chun, am willing to join the Night Watchers, to fight monsters and protect the safety of daxia. Ami Jigong's eyes widened again. He hadn't expected Jiang Chun to agree so decisively. He had assumed a prodigy like him would be difficult to recruit. Yet at this moment, Jiang Chun could already feel 9 miasma wings' killing intent becoming harder to suppress. If he didn't leave soon and she revealed herself, Ami Jigong would definitely sense something wrong. With that thought, he quickly turned to leave. Commander Jigong, I still have matters to handle. I'll report to Night Watcher headquarters in 2.5 days as promised. Just as he left, an elderly man hurried over. Ami Jigong looked up and recognized him, the 8th Elder of the Martial Academy. Before the Elder could speak, Ami Jigong said, 8th Elder, you're late. That prodigy? The Night Watchers have already secured him. The 8th Elder retorted with anger. How can the Night Watchers act so recklessly? That child awakened a god-tier life-class profession. Are you planning to throw a support-type rookie onto the battlefield to die? Meanwhile, Jiang Chun had already returned to his residential building. After learning that Jiang Chun had awakened as a god-tier spirit nurturer, the neighbor uncle immediately comforted him, saying that such a life class was extremely valuable, and many companies that cultivated spiritual energy were desperate for such professionals. Most of these neighbors had watched Jiang Chun grow up, so emotionally, he already treated them as elders. Everything they said was simply to comfort him and help him adapt to the rhythm of a professional's life. They decided to take him to clear an entry-level dungeon, hoping to drop some gear to help him through the early stage. Under the lead of the neighbor uncle, the group quickly stepped into an entry-level instance. But after only a few steps, the uncle broke into cold sweat at the sight ahead, because this was actually a C-class dungeon, Temple of the Undead, while they usually only dared to clear D-class dungeons. The uncle then guessed that the Heavenly Tao system must have detected Jiang Chen's god-tier profession and, to maintain balance, matched them with a higher-level instance. Although the Temple of the Undead was more dangerous and quitting midway granted 0 rewards, C-class and above had one great benefit: a guaranteed drop of high-grade equipment upon clearing. So the uncle decided on the spot to give it a try. Perhaps they could get better gear. At this moment, undead skeletons began spawning in the dungeon. Seeing this, the uncle immediately told Jiang Chun to fall back to the rear. With the support buffs applied, the uncle darted through the horde of monsters with agile footwork. Meanwhile, the scent of blood spreading through the dungeon instantly triggered 9 miasma wings, killing intent inside Jiang Chen's mind. As their figures disappeared ahead, Jiang Chun waved his hand and cast corrosion. 9 miasma wings instantly turned into a dark purple cloud of miasma. The undead skeleton's body melted away the moment it touched him. However, their levels were simply too low, causing 9 miasma wings' devour value to increase painfully slowly. Although the uncle's group had already gone deeper, Jiang Chun was activating the Broodmother for the first time and still couldn't fully control the miasma's path. To avoid accidental harm, he chose to stay put. At that moment, 9 miasma wings sent a signal into his mind, indicating it had detected fresh food ahead. Soon, a much larger monster emerged from the darkness, a level 10 shadow lurker. This was a special mechanic of the Temple of the Undead. Monsters hide in the dark specifically to hunt stragglers. Judging by stats alone, this shadow lurker was far inferior to Jiang Chun after gaining the shared attribute buff. So he decided to use it to test his skill damage. 3 projectiles shot out, whoosh, 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 while he revealed a poison staff of 9 miasma wings. Then he clenched his fist tightly. In the next instant, the monster was engulfed by miasma and died in agony. As expected, even stronger monsters were no match for him, and 9 miasma wings' devour speed increased noticeably after he acted. He then chose to leave 9 miasma wings behind to devour the remaining corpses while he went to check on the uncle's group. After all, this C-class dungeon hid many powerful monsters. Meanwhile, deeper inside, the uncle and the others had already been surrounded by a sudden horde of skeletons. They were all panting heavily from exhaustion. After a brief thought, the uncle told his teammates to escort Jiang Chun out first while he stayed behind to cover them. As soon as he finished speaking, a skeleton suddenly attacked from behind. Hearing the noise, the uncle instinctively turned around. In the next second, that skeleton was swallowed and dissolved by a surge of miasma that came out of nowhere. Jiang Chun slowly walked up from behind and asked, "Uncle, none of you are hurt, right?" The uncle finally recovered from shock. He clearly remembered Jiang Chun awakening a life-type profession. So how could he possess such overwhelming power? Jiang Chun didn't have time to explain, so he casually made up a reason. A god-tier spirit nurturer indeed has no combat ability, but happens to come with a hidden toxic miasma skill. He then told the uncle to take the wounded and retreat first, since this toxic miasma skill made him the most suitable one to stay behind. After thinking for a moment, the uncle agreed to his plan. He tossed his greatsword toward Jiang Chun and told him to return it personally when everything was over. With that, he left quickly with the injured. Jiang Chun caught the greatsword. It was perfect for expanding the range of his toxic miasma. After all, he was ranked first in the school for swordsmanship. Then he unleashed his full power, and the surrounding skeleton army collapsed instantly under his assault. It didn't take long before he cleared all of them. But when he faced the dungeon's final boss, things became extremely difficult. The creature effortlessly caught his full power strike and shattered his greatsword with a single move. Such overwhelming strength. No wonder the level 15 Undead Monarch far surpassed Jiang Chun in every attribute. At the critical moment, 9 Miasma Wings finished its battle elsewhere and teleported to his side the instant it sensed his call. The Broodmother then released a terrifying pressure, surging outward like a violent tidal wave. Facing the sudden oppressive aura, the undead monarch panicked and threw a clumsy punch forward. 9 Miasma Wings' eyes flashed red, and with nothing but the overwhelming force radiating from its body, it smashed the boss-level undead monarch through the air, sending it crashing violently to the ground. In the next moment, under its chilling gaze, the undead monarch exploded with a thunderous boom, truly worthy of its legend. The Zerg race stood above all others. With just a casual strike, it annihilated a C-class dungeon boss with ease. At the spot where the undead monarch died, a crystal stone appeared. It continued absorbing and condensing the surrounding mana. Soon, the crystal reassembled itself into a new monster. Unlike the undead monarch, this one stood 5 meters tall and looked even more menacing. Could this undead tyrant be the true final boss of the dungeon? If it was born from the crystal, then the crystal was very likely its source of power. Jiang Chun signaled 9 Miasma Wings, telling it to destroy the energy crystal inside the undead tyrant. But unexpectedly, this seemingly bulky monster moved with shocking speed, dodging the falling miasma attacks again and again. Not only that, every counterattack it launched was overwhelmingly strong, making it difficult for 9 Miasma Wings to gain any advantage. Before long, Jiang Chun came up with a solution. He sensed that many root-type plants were growing beneath the ground. As long as he released his spirit nurturer talent at the moment the undead tyrant approached, he could bind it with those roots. A green totem appeared on the back of his hand, a sign that the growth of all things talent was activating. Jiang Chun swung his arm decisively. Instantly, countless thick roots burst from the ground and wrapped tightly around the undead tyrant's limbs. Seeing this, 9 Miasma Wings released a heavy, crushing attack. With a thunderous boom, the undead tyrant vanished completely from the space. Jiang Chun walked slowly toward the site where its body exploded. He picked up the crystal stone filled with mana, then crushed it firmly in his hand. A system notification appeared. Congratulations, Jiang Chun, for clearing the C-Class Dungeon Undead Sanctuary. Reward, D-Class Weapon, Edim's Swift Dagger. Holding the new weapon, he thought it would make a good replacement for the greatsword broken by the Undead Monarch. There was also another reward, a large warhammer called Call of the King, with a passive that gives a 10% chance of triggering a 5 times critical hit. The warhammer, however, was extremely heavy, so heavy that Jiang Chun couldn't lift it in one motion. Judging from its description, it was clearly meant for heavy armored combat professions. Then came the EXP settlement. With the talent feedback, he jumped from level 0 straight to level 6. His physical attributes rose several tiers instantly, allowing him to lift the warhammer with ease. He then signaled 9 Miasma Wings to devour the corpse of the undead tyrant. But consuming such a massive monster naturally caused quite a commotion. Fortunately, this was inside a dungeon. Doing this in a city would basically be suicide. Still, boss-type monsters had one great advantage. Their corpses granted an enormous increase in devour value. At that moment, Footsteps came from behind. The uncle and the others had likely rushed over after hearing the noise. Jiang Chun quickly ordered 9 miasma wings to return to human form and retreat back into his mindscape. Seeing the loot settlement, the uncle wore a stunned expression. Jiang Chun quickly made up an excuse. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe my toxic miasma skill just happens to counter this type of monster. The uncle then offered a suggestion. With Jiang Chen's power, doing logistics work would be a waste. He should join a mercenary organization. Jiang Chun responded shyly. I didn't mention it earlier because I didn't want you all to worry, but I've already decided to join the Night Watchers. I'm scheduled to report in 2.5 days. The next morning, Jiang Chun appeared at the outer city border. He only needed one more boss-level corpse for 9 miasma wings to max out its devour value, allowing him to begin breeding the first generation of bridlings. And beyond the outer city border, the wilderness was the place where bosses spawned most frequently. According to legend, after the advent of the job transition era, countless beast tides and dungeons surged into human territory. At the end of that era, humanity finally expelled the monsters, leaving behind this wilderness as a battleground, now used by future professionals to level up and earn resources. The previous night, Jiang Chun discovered something interesting. Because of the talent feedback, every time he ate something, his devour value increased a little. Following the map's guidance, he headed toward the wilderness. His instructor once explained that due to the influence of heavenly Tao energy, all electronic devices malfunction in the wild. Monsters in the wild nests also migrate with the seasons, so without up-to-date intel, it's nearly impossible to find large groups of them. Among the available dungeons, the Firebird Rexy instance had the most players. Going there would easily expose 9 miasma wings. Several other locations marked with question marks were rumored to be newly spawned monster nests that required Night Watchers to investigate before anyone could enter. Based on current information, the Goblin Dungeon was the most suitable for Jiang Chun. Just then, a stranger appeared behind him and called out to him. The man asked rudely whether Jiang Chun had seen a blonde woman near the outer city. Jiang Chun stopped and shot him a cold glance. Sorry, haven't seen her. A mass of dark purple miasma instantly crawled across the man's palm. The man's expression twisted in shock. This kid, who looked utterly weak, could actually penetrate the defenses of a level 27 tank-type warrior like him. The man flashed forward, appearing before Jiang Chun, his eyes filled with killing intent. You got guts, brat. Don't you know the Shao family is behind me? Jiang Chun raised his arm, summoning 9 miasma wings to form a toxic miasma state. But just as the battle was about to break out, a blue-haired, black-robed man suddenly appeared behind the warrior. In an instant, all of the man's arrogance vanished. He fell to his knees like a dog pinned to the ground. Jiang Chun watched the two figures coldly. He hadn't even sensed the blue-haired man's movements. That meant this newcomer was far more dangerous than the warrior. The blue-haired man approached to apologize to Jiang Chun, saying his subordinate's negligence had caused trouble. If compensation was needed, Jiang Chun could speak up anytime. Jiang Chun simply replied that it wasn't necessary. The man looked at him with interest, saying Jiang Chun seemed rather amusing, and asked if he was heading toward the wildlands. As he spoke, he suddenly stepped closer and suggested they could travel together. Jiang Chun didn't accept. He simply turned away. Thanks for the offer, but I prefer to act alone. The moment Jiang Chun left, the blue-haired man's expression twisted into something vicious. He sharply ordered the warrior beside him to continue the search. The blonde woman they wanted had already escaped the outer city. From her route, she was likely heading through the wildlands toward the nearest outpost, so he would personally go after her. Meanwhile, Jiang Chun had stepped into a corridor shrouded in thick fog. According to the map, the Goblin Beast Tide should be somewhere ahead. However, he had already walked for half a day without exiting this eerie passage, and the monsters that usually appeared frequently were now growing scarce. Anxiety crept into him. If he didn't locate the Beast Tide soon, he might not make it to the Night Watchers on time. With that in mind, he quickened his pace, silently praying to find its location quickly. Suddenly, a series of thunderous rumbles echoed beside his ears. Endless rain poured down from the sky. Jiang Chun keenly sensed subtle fluctuations of mana in the air. Although he missed the goblin beast hide due to getting lost, he had accidentally stumbled upon another beast hide entirely. Narrowing his eyes, he judged from the strength and nature of the fluctuation that a boss-level creature was likely present. The next moment, a massive demon spider circled overhead. Jiang Chun leaped up, his fist swelling with force, and smashed a heavy blow into the spider's body. Before he could even catch his breath, hordes of demon spiders surged out from all directions. Without hesitation, he summoned the mother insect, 9 miasma wings. Old 9, you can feast without holding back this time. In just 2.5 minutes, the massive spider swarm had piled up into a mountain of corpses. The wilderness was clearly far more suitable for his restructuring and cultivation. Experience was gained instantly, and each monster offered far more devour value than those in dungeon instances. After finishing her feast, 9 miasma wings suddenly reported sensing a strong presence ahead. But when Jiang Chun hurried over, he found a barely clothed woman lying on the ground. Fortunately, she soon regained consciousness. But upon seeing a stranger crouched in front of her, her expression changed drastically. She stumbled to her feet, muttering something about wasting too much time and those people catching up. Jiang Chun only caught fragments and asked, "You seem really scared. Is something terrifying ahead?" Panting, the woman said there were monsters she couldn't handle, so she was preparing to leave. If Jiang Chun wanted, he could check for himself. With that, she dashed off and vanished. If strong monsters really were ahead, that would actually work in Jiang Chun's favor. But her expression earlier was clearly lying. Perhaps what waited ahead weren't monsters, but rogue professionals. Out in the wilderness, murder and robbery weren't rare. That woman might even be part of their group. At that moment, 9 miasma wings sent out a strong psychic wave, reporting many entities approaching from the front. Soon, countless crimson eyes appeared in the darkness. Jiang Chen's heart tightened. This wave of monsters could easily wipe out a level 10 team. Still, as long as they weren't other professionals, he had nothing to worry about. With Little Nine around, these monsters were just voluntary offerings. He instructed Little Nine to shift into toxic miasma form and coat his twin blades. Then Jiang Chun charged forward, slicing open a deep wound on a demon spider in an instant. With Little Nine's toxic miasma boosting his attacks, the once ferocious demon spiders collapsed one after another. The scene that followed, however, made Jiang Chen's heart tremble. The spiders were coordinating in a rotating, wheel-like formation. Could the boss above be controlling the entire swarm's assault? No wonder he hadn't encountered other professionals. Thousands of spiders acting as if sharing a single mind were extremely troublesome to handle. Jiang Chun realized he had to eliminate the boss first before dealing with the smaller ones. Yet breaking through the layered siege of spiders wouldn't be easy. At that moment, Little Nine reverted to her human form, saying she could understand a monster's communication. She then used her innate racial suppression to forcibly sever their link, making things much simpler. Without the boss's command, the spider swarm instantly lost cohesion, their once tight formation collapsing. They now resembled a torn net, and Jiang Chun cut through them like a blade through paper. He easily advanced all the way to the boss. The massive creature glared at him with enormous, blood-red eyes. Jiang Chun didn't hesitate. His blade fell, and a corpse gas-infused sword strike pierced straight through the spider leader's skull. A clear chime sounded as the system congratulated Jiang Chun for reaching level 14, with his combat rating rising to 127 stars. He looked up at the notification, eyes full of surprise. 127 stars already? That meant his single target combat strength now matched that of a level 25 combat professional. The next step was to devour the corpse and use the immense energy within it to begin breeding his first Zerg army. What Jiang Chun didn't expect was that his innate talent not only boosted 9 miasma wings devour value, but even accelerated the breeding process. Roughly 2.5 hours later, a dark purple totem appeared on the back of his left hand. Jiang Chen's eyes trembled as he stared at the spectacular scene before him. Countless newly born insects burst forth, their wing beats shaking the ground itself. By his estimation, the first brood numbered over 2,000. At this rate, by the fourth or fifth generation, quantity would definitely trigger qualitative change. Their skills were also different from 9 miasma wings, leaning more toward team-oriented abilities. Jiangchen soon understood the totem's purpose. It was a space capable of storing an unlimited number of insects, including 9 miasma wings and all future broods. This spatial ability came with a new skill, Zerg Dominion, a power that allowed him to command the swarm. It also granted him access to each brood insect's sensory state. The moment he activated the skill, Jiang Chen's senses expanded infinitely, sharing the vision of every brood creature. Looking at the insects beside him, excitement flickered in his eyes. No wonder the Zerg had been sealed by immortals. Even the most basic brood units were formidable. In the time that followed, Jiang Chun led his Zerg army through dungeon after dungeon. All he needed was to use shared vision to locate hidden monsters, and the brood would swiftly take them down. Meanwhile, in a house on the other side of the wilderness, a group of people wore confused expressions. They were professionals from a mercenary organization. Their mission was to collect dire spider venom in the wilderness, yet all nearby nests had been annihilated in a completely devastating manner. So they believed this was most likely the work of the Night Watchers, meaning they could only accept their bad luck. It was at this moment that Jiang Chun walked over at an unhurried pace. "Do you have any food? I'd like to trade for some." Hearing this, the leader inside looked surprised, then spoke greedily. If Jiang Chun wanted food, he'd have to offer something valuable in exchange. Jiang Chun let out a small laugh, expressing his understanding. He then took several dire spider corpses out of his backpack. Seeing this, the mercenary's eyes filled with fear. The bodies were unmistakably dire spider corpses, meaning the one who wiped out all the nests was most likely this man standing before them. Realizing this, their arrogance vanished instantly. After completing the trade, they hurried away without looking back. Drinking the hot broth, Jiang Chun considered his next steps. The devour value required for his swarm had increased visibly. Even if he cleared every beast den nearby, it might still not be enough for a second brood. The only solution was to reach the Night Watchers as soon as possible, since they possessed large amounts of undisclosed beast blood from secret realms. Just then, something slammed hard into Jiang Chen's back. When he turned, he found it was the same girl from before. With pitiful eyes, she begged him not to say he had seen her, then hurried to hide somewhere. Jiang Chun finally understood. She must have been the one those so-called Shao family members were searching for. Moments later, a familiar figure entered with a group of black-clad men, the young master of the Shao family. He immediately drew his sword and pressed it against Jiang Chen's neck, his former friendliness gone as he coldly asked whether he had seen a black-haired woman. Jiang Chun pointed behind him. "A woman did run past just now, but I didn't see clearly whether she had black hair." The Shao young master stood up slowly. On his way out, he cast a cold glance back at Jiang Chun, warning that he hoped Jiang Chun was not lying. Otherwise, next time, he wouldn't mind making him taste the Shao family's methods. No wonder they dared to search so openly in the wilderness. The Shao family was a town-nation clan, one of the highest-ranking families in the entire Dragon Kingdom. Each town-nation clan had a glorious past. Legends said their ancestors were frontier officials at the founding of the kingdom, only entering the world when the nation faced calamity. It seemed the Shao young master was even stronger than Jiang Chun had imagined. About 2.5 minutes later, the girl reappeared to thank Jiang Chun sincerely. Jiang Chun held her hand firmly and questioned how she had provoked such dangerous people. He genuinely regretted getting involved. She explained helplessly that the Shao family members were vile. They coveted her cargo, robbed her, and to protect their reputation, planned to kill her. But Jiang Chun had no time to deal with such matters now, because at that moment, a buzzing sound echoed incessantly in his ears. The girl also felt her heart pounding rapidly. The group had set up a barrier talisman before leaving. As expected, moments later young Master Shao returned with an even larger group, clearly intending to eliminate all witnesses. His brows tightened slightly. Several crimson bolts of lightning burst from his palm. Countless glowing runes intertwined, forming an invisible barrier. The Shao family's ancestral cage formation, said to restrain even dragonkind. Yet at the last moment, He waved his hand and offered Jiang Chen another choice. He acknowledged that a god-tier life profession was extremely rare. If Jiang Chen handed over the girl, he would grant him the chance to serve under the Shao family. Jiang Chen's eyes sharpened like frozen blades, a faint smirk rising on his lips. A tempting offer. Unfortunately, I don't plan on becoming the Shao family's dog. And as we all know, only the dead stay quiet. With that, a powerful aura erupted from him. Young Master Zhao's expression twisted into a cold grin as he ordered his black-clad men to kill Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen let out a cold snort and activated his innate skill, growth of all things. In an instant, the ground trembled as thick vines shot up like spring bamboo. Within seconds, the black-clad men were bound and suspended in midair. But soon they realized something was off. The vines looked strong, but were actually brittle, snapping with only slight force. He's bluffing. Just a trick. Yet observing from outside, young Master Zhao's face showed surprise. He recognized it as a deliberate distraction. Meanwhile, Jiang Chen used their confusion to summon his dormant insect army. As the black-clad men turned, they saw a grotesque swarm creatures charging at them. With just a few swift, tearing sounds, they were overwhelmed and devoured almost instantly. Even the fast ones who drew their weapons only survived a few seconds longer. Young Master Shao finally lost his composure and roared in fury. He drew his sword, chanting as he unleashed the first stance of the ethereal 9 forms. Candle Dragon. Jiang Chen looked up at the dragon spiraling above with a helpless smile. The level gap was too great. Recalling his swarm in time was impossible. A thunderous boom erupted. Young Master Zhao's pupils shrank, utter disbelief filling his eyes. No one expected it. The attack had been blocked by the girl. Her class was the world's only hidden defense profession, Eternal Earth Shield. Jiang Chen seized a brief moment when young Master Shao froze. He immediately issued the attack command to the swarm. In an instant, nearly 2,000 bridlings surged toward young Master Shao with murderous intent. Shao grabbed the closest subordinate and pulled him forward. Before the man even understood what was happening, he was devoured by the swarm. Shao casually adjusted his sleeve and stepped forward unhurriedly. At the same time, he took a pill from his pocket and swallowed it in one gulp. He admitted he had underestimated Jiang Chen. He never expected someone in the wilderness to force him to use a 6-essence rejuvenation pill. Invisible fury burned within his eyes. He leaned forward, knees slightly bent, taking the Iron Mountain stance before lifting his sword to unleash the second form of the ethereal 9 styles, Dragon Subduing Slash. The dragon in the sky, no longer still, gathered power and roared as it dove down. Meanwhile, the girl cast her enhanced skill, Earth Guardian Shield. But since Shao had taken the pill beforehand, the shield would not last long. Shao continued swinging his sword relentlessly, chaining dragon-subduing slashes to strengthen his assault. Jiang Chen watched coldly, having already made up his mind. Someone this ruthless and vindictive could never be allowed to live. In an instant, dark mist surged from around Jiang Chen's body. His eyes glowed with intense violet light as he summoned every broodling stored within his spatial mark at once. Young Master Shao stared at Jiang Chen's figure, a strange and indescribable emotion rising within him. By now, he was completely surrounded by the swarm. The bridlings that had been slain regenerated instantly, reforming in moments. The dragon he had summoned didn't even have time to strike before being eaten clean by the swarm. The sight chilled young Master Shao to the core. He had followed his ancestors, witnessed countless powerhouses, yet never had he seen someone so young overpower an opponent across realms with such ease. It shattered his understanding of strength. He then pulled out a scroll from his robes and crushed it. Instantly, all swarm attacks became ineffective. This was the Shao Ancestral Life Jade Shield, capable of nullifying all external damage once activated. Dragging his wounded body, he slowly stepped up to Jiang Chen. He claimed that as long as Jiang Chen pledged loyalty, he would overlook everything and even grant him valuable information. Jiang Chen let out a cold laugh. Seems you still don't understand the situation. When you used that scroll, I gave you a chance to run. Since you didn't treasure it, don't blame me for what comes next. Cold, killing intent burst from his eyes. The Shao retainers were so terrified they nearly collapsed. A terrifying figure was now circling above their heads. With a sharp crack, the life jade shield shattered effortlessly. It dissolved into countless motes of light. Young Master Zhao's eyes widened, unable to speak. His face twisted with disbelief. Shao family's unparalleled life jade shield had been broken by a single broodling summoned by Jiangchen. Jiangchen no longer cared about these so-called noble clans. The cultivation on their bodies would probably boost Shao Jiu's power by a huge margin. With that thought, he signaled 9 miasmal wings to move forward and feast. The girl froze completely as she watched him, shocked by how ruthless and merciless his methods were. She even feared Jiang Chun might silence her next. Jiang Chun slowly walked up to her. "If you don't want to die, give me one reason not to kill you." Hearing this, the girl immediately knelt down and took out a storage ring, saying everything she owned was inside and he could take all of it if he wished. Jiang Chun didn't decline and took the ring, but said calmly that even with her sincerity, he had no assurance she wouldn't leak the matter once released. The girl instantly pressed 4 fingers together at the side of her head and swore to the heavens that if she ever lied to Jiang Chun, lightning would strike her and she would never again be reborn as a human. Jiang Chun was stunned and confused because what kind of parents named their daughter Luo Sandow? Had they read too much fantasy? Seeing his doubt, Luo Sandow hurriedly pulled out her ID, saying he could check freely. She really was named Luo Sandow. Jiangchen glanced at the photo and went speechless. "You expect me to believe this is the same person as you?" Luo Sandow grabbed her loose hair and pushed up her cheeks, saying the picture was taken 2.5 years ago, when she wasn't an adult yet, so some baby fat was normal. Watching her silly demonstration, Jiangchen almost lost his composure. Even so, it still wasn't enough to guarantee she could keep the secret. Luo Sandow seemed to understand what he was thinking and quickly took out a scroll from her storage space. Jiangchen asked what it was. She explained it was a sealing scroll. Once activated, anyone who leaks the secret dies instantly. She was terrified of death. Otherwise, she wouldn't have risked entering this wilderness. Jiangchen hadn't expected such an item to exist, but with this, the risk of the secret spreading was gone. With that thought, Jiangchen finally relented and said he wouldn't kill Luo Sandow. Then he turned to leave, planning to report to the Night Watchers. Time was running out. Seeing this, Luo Sandow quickly called out to him and suggested he escort her home. She was exhausted, and with him, she'd be much safer. Besides, her family had a spatial teleport station, far faster than him walking all the way to the Night Watchers. Moments later, Jiangchen followed her to the Luo family's old residence. After hearing what Luo Sandow experienced on the road, the Luo family's matriarch instantly erupted in anger. Her husband quickly stepped up to calm her, saying that as long as Sandow returned safely, that was all that mattered. The Shao family held massive power in the Dragon Nation, far beyond what merchants like them could afford to offend. Luo's father then walked up to Jiangchen with a grateful smile, thanking him for saving Luo Sandow and escorting her home, and handed him a black premium card. Jiangchen happened to lack resources the most right now. This black card was exactly what he needed. Meanwhile, on the Shao family side, the patriarch, Shao Yuanshan, suddenly sensed that the fate jade he bestowed upon Shao Yuanwu had shattered. This meant Shao Yuanwu had likely been ambushed. A young man whose features resembled Shao Yuanwu stepped forward, telling his grandfather not to lose his temper. Shao Yuanwu, he said, was only a second-turn weakling, barely stronger than the Shao family side branches. After he finished the opportunity session at the Qinjiao camp, he would personally hunt down the one behind this. Half an hour later, Jiangchen arrived at the Night Watchers right on time, only to find the place packed with people. Commander Ji Gang threw an arm around Jiangchen's shoulder. "Jiangchen, you finally made it. Let me introduce you to the Night Watchers core members." Following Ji Gang's gesture, Jiangchen first saw a beautiful young girl. Her name was Roashi, a level 45 second-turn healer, the youngest member of the Night Watchers before Jiangchen joined. Next was Marco, a level 49 second-turn archer. He was cold, quiet, and just a bit tsundere. Then came a shorter man, Chu Bulang, a level 49 second-turn defender. Despite his height, his physical strength was astonishing. At that moment, a mature, graceful blonde woman walked over. Her name was Tang Jin, a level 61 third-turn Master Tier Fire Mage, and also the Deputy Commander of the Night Watchers. Jiang Chun could call her Aunt Tang. Seeing how warm and welcoming these teammates were on their first meeting, Jiang Chun felt a wave of warmth inside. Thanks, everyone. But I'm just a life-type profession. Ji Gang waved that off completely. Life types are still professionals. In the Night Watchers, no one is above anyone else. Besides, you're a god tier. He totally misunderstood Jiang Chen's intention. Jiang Chen only wanted to get some resources, hide his identity, and help 9 poison wings grow faster. Before Jiang Chen could think further, Ji Gang pulled him close again, saying he planned to sign him up for the Tianjiao training camp happening in 2.5 days. There he could earn plenty of resources, and it would count as an assessment. The minimum requirement was level 17. Hearing that, Jiang Chun simply replied he was already level 17. Ji Gang's eyes widened instantly. Jiang Chun had just completed his job change ceremony days ago, yet he'd already reached level 17. He guessed this must be the effect of a god-tier life-type profession. If so, he supported Jiang Chun going even more. But in the next second, everyone, including Ji Gang, suddenly turned cold-eyed. Ji Gang asked anxiously whether Jiang Chun had provoked some powerful expert while leveling, because he sensed an unknown third-turn master using divine sense to track Jiang Chun. Jiang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Could it be the Shao family has begun to act? Ruashi then cast a sound-isolating shield to block all probing. Ji Gang patted Jiang Chen's shoulder, signaling he could speak freely. After a moment of thought, Jiang Chun confessed everything. Not long ago, he had killed Xiao Yuanwu of the Shao clan. Even though he cleaned the scene thoroughly, he wasn't sure if they had other ways to track him. Hearing the words Shao clan, Tang Jin and Ji Gang widened their eyes. Even Chu Bulang, who was usually carefree, became serious. If they remember correctly, Xiao Yuanwu was the direct grandson of Xiao Yuanshan, the 8th turn nation-guarding powerhouse. Jiang Chun scratched his head awkwardly. Probably, yeah, he did take out a Shao clan Fate Jade. I thought wiping all traces would stop them from tracking me, but it seems I might have caused trouble for everyone. Commander Ji Gang wasn't bothered at all. As a nation-guarding clan, the Shao family had failed to set any example. In recent years, several of their younger members had acted recklessly. From his view, Jiang Chun eliminating Xiao Yuanwu was practically removing a menace for the people and aligned perfectly with the Night Watcher's mission to eradicate every disaster on Blue Star. Though an 8th turn nation guarding expert was terrifying, according to Ji Gang, Xiao Yuanwu had long been marginalized by his clan. That meant Xiao Yuanshan might not personally take action. If they sent someone else, the Night Watchers might still have a fighting chance. Hearing these words, Jiang Chen's eyes grew slightly hot. Although he had neighbors who looked after him growing up, this was the first time he genuinely felt something like home. Only then did Ji Gang react. Even if Xiao Yuanwu was sidelined, he should have been at least 2nd turn. How could a 1st turn level 17 life type like you defeat a 2nd turn level 30 combat type? Jiang Chen had already prepared his explanation. Commander Ji Gang, calm down first. I had help at the time, Luo Sandao of the Jiang and Luo family. She's the only hidden profession, Eternal Earth Shield. Hearing that, everyone instantly understood. The Luo family was the wealthiest clan in Jiangnan. They couldn't rival a nation-guarding clan, but handling a 2nd turn combat type wasn't difficult. And since the Luo family was involved, if the Shao clan pursued the matter later, the Luo family likely wouldn't stand aside. But Ji Gang soon realized another problem. Even with her strong defense, Luo Sandao had no offensive abilities. To kill someone carrying a Shao clan Fate Jade, one needed overwhelming offensive power. Jiang Chun waved his hand, forming a cluster of poisonous miasma in his palm. There's something I forgot to tell everyone. I'm a dual-class awakener. Besides being a god-tier spirit nurturer, I also have a hidden poison class. Commander Ji Gang immediately lit up with joy. But moments later, his expression grew serious. Your talent may be extraordinary, but since the Shao clan has already marked you, it's better to forget the Tianjiao training camp. Sure, it offers many resources, but Shao Clan's prodigies will definitely attend, and accidents will be hard to avoid. Jiangchen only caught one key word: resources. Ji Gang, what kind of resources are we talking about? Even the Shao Clan wants them? Ji Gang replied, mainly beast essence blood and equipment. But if you rank high in the camp, there are rare treasures, mystic fruits, secret realm scrolls, and more. Jiang Qin's eyes widened immediately. These resources were far better than hunting beasts alone. With them, his swarm might even begin its second round of reproduction. With that thought, Jiang Chun looked at Ji Gang with determination. I've decided. It's dangerous, but it's the best training I can get. And I'm confident I can survive whatever the Shao Clan throws at me. Meanwhile, in the Shao Clan, Shao Beihan finally obtained a lead. Shao Yuanwu once had a conflict with a woman named Luo Sandao. In addition, Luo Sandao had recently returned to the Luo family estate accompanied by a man named Jiang Chun, a newly awakened God-tier life-type professional. By now, he should be with the Night Watchers, and both Luo Sandao and Jiang Chun had registered for the Tianjiao camp. Hearing this, Shao Beihan fell into thought. He knew the truth about Luo Sandao. She awakened the hidden class Eternal Earth Shield and had no offensive capability. That meant the problem was likely Jiang Chun. Shao Beihan let out a cold laugh. Since we're all enrolled in the Tianjiao camp, we'll just get rid of them there. Meanwhile, at the Night Watchers base, Commander Ji Gang had already registered Jiang Chun for the Tianjiao camp. Still uneasy, he added, just in case, I found you a strong ally among the applicants. The little princess of the seven-turn Wind King Mu family, Mu Hanxiu. Before you go, I want you to accompany Hanxiu through a secret realm run. Treat it as training and a chance to build rapport. Ji Gang then pulled Jiang Chun close again. Rumor has it Mu Hanxiu is breathtakingly beautiful and about my age. Who knows, maybe I can play matchmaker for once. Jiang Chun didn't respond. The thought was too absurd. Just then, a knock came at the office door. An old man and a young girl walked inside. As soon as she entered, Mu Hanxiu complained, yesterday, I asked to borrow someone for a secret realm trip and was told manpower was tight. So why is it not tight today? Commander Ji Gang wrapped an arm around Jiang Chun and chuckled. Yesterday I refused because I was annoyed with Elder Mu. Today I'm agreeing because there's one condition. You must take Jiang Chun along. Hearing this, Mu Hanxiu stepped before Jiang Chun. Tell me your current combat level. Jiang Chun answered honestly, level 17, life-type spirit nurturer. Hearing that, Mu Hanxiu instantly snapped. What is this? I came all the way here to find a reliable teammate to fight beside me, not some freeloader who'll drag everyone down. Ji Gang exploded the moment this yellow-haired girl spoke so rudely. Questioning him right after walking in was already bad enough, but speaking this harshly? Jiang Chun isn't just a god-tier talent. He's a dual-classer. At that moment, Li Shugan, who came with Mu Hanxiu, hurried to smooth things over. Old Ji, calm down. Xiao Qiu just got dumped by her girlfriend. Her bad temper is somewhat understandable. Jiang Chun froze for a moment. Mu Hanxiu was into girls? That was unexpected. Afraid that Uncle Li would reveal anything even more embarrassing, Mu Hanxiu immediately echoed along. She also had her own plans. Ji Gang and her grandfather were old acquaintances. With their long-standing relationship, he surely wouldn't set her up. The next day, Jiang Chun followed Marco and the others to the entrance of the secret realm. The realm was a level 30 beautiful village instance, allowing up to 5 people under level 50. The clear conditions were, eliminate all monsters in Light Village, defeat the boss, and destroy the sacrificial altar. Before entering, Marco turned back to remind them, I'll be leading this run. If you get separated or run into danger, return to the teleport stone immediately. Although mutation chances in a secret realm were low, if something did happen, he might not be able to protect everyone. And at that moment, Mu Hanxiu, who had been annoyed with Jiang Chun from the start, started with her sarcasm again. Little one-turn newbie, don't let your legs give out once we're inside. Jiang Chun ignored her. For some reason, this level, 30 secret realm, gave him an ominous feeling. Soon, they entered the Light Village instance. Strangely, not a single monster was in sight. Marco guessed that since no monsters were seen around, they were probably hiding inside the village houses. As they passed the stone monument at the entrance, Marco suddenly raised his hand. signaling everyone not to step in yet. Something about the stone tablet felt wrong. Ruaw, she quickly sensed it too. As a light-type healer, the aura in this village felt extremely unpleasant to her. She cast a purification skill on the spot, preparing to give them a purification buff. Instantly, the fatigue in Jiang Qin's body vanished, and his mind became much clearer. But before he could feel the difference, the once bright sky darkened as thick black fog surged in. The next moment, the black fog gathered and shot straight toward the stone monument. The characters on the monument gradually turned red. A system prompt appeared. Due to a mutation, the beautiful village Secret Realm has been renamed Undead Village. Clear conditions updated. Eliminate all undead in Light Village and kill the boss. The black fog then scattered everyone, teleporting them to different areas of Light Village. Jiang Chun felt miserable. This normal difficulty had just become nightmare difficulty, and the party was split up. Remembering Marco's earlier warning, he calmed himself. A level 30 nightmare tier mutated Secret Realm was far too dangerous for him alone. He should return to the teleport stone and regroup first. Moments later, he kicked open a room door and froze at the sight inside. Coffins filled the floor, red lanterns hung overhead, and at the far end of the room stood an old man's memorial portrait. As he hesitated, the previously solemn portrait suddenly formed a twisted smile. Jiang Chun tensed. Was that an illusion? Did the portrait just smile at him? At that instant, a coffin beside him creaked open. He turned to see every coffin in the room slowly opening. Skeletal undead creatures crawled out one after another. The system prompted, level 30 undead, immune to normal physical attacks. Jiang Chun shifted into combat stance, but internally swore. Immune to physical attacks? Would his toxin mist even work? Without wasting time, he turned his toxin haze into smoke. Using the smoke as cover, he quickly dashed out of the house. Seeing the swarms of undead outside, his heart sank again. If toxin haze counted as physical damage, only mages could deal with these creatures. Right then, Xiao Jiao emerged from his consciousness. Master, Xiao Jiao is a little hungry. Jiang Qin was puzzled. Xiao Jiao could eat these things? Wasn't its attack also physical? But Xiao Jiao replied confidently. Of course it could, and these undead were nourishing. Jiang Chun had no choice but to let it try. If it didn't work, he'd run with it. In the next instant, 9 toxin wings dashed straight into the monster group. The entire horde erupted with agonized screams. He almost forgot that the 9 miasma wings originally came from the abyss, so in essence it belonged to the same dark type as those undead entities. After receiving divine evolution, Xiao Jiao had already grown into the lord of the abyss, and from its origin level, it was completely above those low-tier undead. After understanding this, he waved his hand and summoned all his bridlings. In just 2.5 seconds, his level rose to level 18. It seemed this instance was truly worth coming to. Within seconds, he gained hundreds of thousands of EXP. Now he planned to examine that eerie statue again. When he returned, the statue's smile had already disappeared. The old man's face was filled with panic. Xiao Jiao ran over, saying that all the food outside had been entirely eaten. Pointing at the statue, he asked, "Can this be eaten?" Before he even finished speaking, the statue suddenly exploded on the spot. The system notified him that he had successfully frightened a level 35 elite monster, the Undead Guardian, to death, earning 8,701 EXP. Meanwhile, on the other side of Bright Village, Marco was struggling in a tough battle against the undead entities. Fortunately, he had a longbow artifact with him. Otherwise, he really wouldn't be able to deal with these mutated undead. And since even Marco found them this troublesome, he couldn't imagine how the others were doing, especially for him. As someone who had just completed his first tier advancement, fighting level 30 monsters head-on would likely be impossible. While he was thinking, hundreds of notifications appear before his eyes. Your teammate killed a level 30 low-tier undead. You gained 4,133 EXP. Your teammate killed a level 35 elite undead guardian. You gained 8,028 EXP. Marco was completely shocked. This was a mutated instance, and judging from the pop-up speed, someone was insta-killing the monsters. But everyone's physical stats were average. Although Ruo, she had light-type abilities that countered undead creatures. Even she absolutely couldn't insta-kill them. So he guessed it might be Mu Hanxiu. But if she were truly that strong, she wouldn't have come to the Night Watcher seeking help. Meanwhile, Mu Hanxiu had already been clawed all over by the undead, her entire body covered in wounds. She felt utterly hopeless. She had awakened a unique hidden class, hadn't even attended the Prodigy training camp yet, and now she was about to die here. But in the next moment, she noticed the undead in front of her suddenly turn around and leave without hesitation. In that same direction, a powerful aura appeared, and right then, an undead behind her seized the opportunity and slammed her to the ground. Mu Hanxiu, completely helpless, began crying out for help. Hearing noise nearby, he walked over. When Mu Hanxiu saw that it was this so-called weakling, her eyes widened in disbelief. How was this possible? She had never imagined the aura came from him. Even though she still didn't believe in Jiang Chen's strength, she clung to him as her last hope. Seeing this, Jiang Chen waved his hand, grabbed her arm, and, showing absolutely no gentleness, directly threw her aside. With a loud thud, Mu Hanxiu crashed heavily onto the ground. She struggled to get up, muttering under her breath, clearly about to curse Jiang Chen. But in the very next second, she was completely stunned by the sight before her. Jiang Chen no longer concealed his power. With a single sweeping motion of his hand, he commanded the Zerg swarm to begin a massacre. Wherever the miasmic venom spread, every undead was instantly melted away. In just a few seconds, hundreds of undead were corroded until none remained. Watching this scene, Mu Hanxiu's face instantly turned red. She wasn't sure if it was shame or embarrassment, but one thing she knew, she definitely shouldn't have mocked him earlier. Meanwhile, Marco finally located Ruo Shi after much effort. The two looked confused. On their way here, the number of undead entities had visibly decreased. Ruo Shi guessed perhaps Mu Hanxiu possessed some secret treasure that countered undead. She then pointed at a nearby alley. It showed signs of a recent battle, with fresh, undead fragments scattered across the ground. Seeing this, Marco's expression changed drastically. If Ruo Shi had such a treasure, then the only one who might still be in danger was Jiang Chen. The two immediately started searching through the alleys at full speed. But when they passed a narrow corner, the scene that greeted them left both Marco and Ruo Shi completely stunned. Jiang Chen was sitting alone on the steps, while Mu Hanxiu was sitting behind him, gently giving him a back massage. The three froze, too afraid to approach. They knew Mu Hanxiu's temperament far too well. She would never submit to anyone, and she was the granddaughter of a titled lord. How could she possibly act like a servant massaging Jiang Chen? There is only one explanation. What they were seeing was likely an illusion created by the boss. Hearing movement ahead, he stopped resting. Pointing behind him, he said, "You finally made it. The altar and the boss are in the courtyard back there." Before he even finished, the three immediately took combat stances, full of suspicion, demanding he answer their questions first. Seeing they might attack Jiang Chen, Mu Hanxiu spread her arms protectively in front of him, clearly ready to block them no matter what. Jiang Chen looked at her foolish posture and sighed helplessly, pushing her aside without mercy. "You misunderstand. I'm not an illusion. If you don't believe me, I can tell you our leader is Commander Ji Gang, and Tang Yi's cooking is the best." Hearing this, the three finally lowered their guard. They confirmed it really was Jiang Chen, safe and uninjured. As everyone gathered around him, Mu Hanxiu quietly wrapped her arm around Jiang Chen's again. This wasn't even the first time she tried to take advantage of him. Jiang Chen had no idea why her personality had changed so dramatically after he saved her. Honestly, he would have preferred her old self, the proud young lady of the Mu family. Now things were simply awkward for him. Soon after, he led the group into the room where the instance boss resided. As the massive doors opened, a huge undead entity appeared before them. The system displayed, Level 40 Boss, Undead Leader. Marco immediately stepped in front of the group. "This boss won't be easy. Since you have a treasure that restrains undead, Mu Hanxiu, stay back and protect Jiang Chen." After arranging formation, the five spread out. Yet just as they prepared for battle, the undead leader suddenly knelt before Jiang Chen, showing great respect. Marco's eyes widened. Was he hallucinating? Did the boss kneel to beg for mercy? Jiang Chun guessed it was because of Xiao Jiao. Jiang Chun stepped forward as miasmic venom spread out, enveloping the entire undead leader. The others lost visibility, and Jiang Chun, without any hesitation, summoned the fully evolved Xiao Jiao. Moments later, the system notified him that he had slain the boss undead leader. His level rose to 26, and all attributes increased by 1 point. Marco stared, completely stunned. The boss had died almost instantly. Did that mean all the undead earlier were also killed by Jiangchen? He let out a mischievous grin, saying that his miasmic venom just happened to counter undead creatures. A new system notification popped up before everyone's eyes. It showed that his instance rating was SSS rank, and the entire team received a special item, Undead Badge, which allows the user to survive 1 guaranteed death attack. Looking at the pile of equipment and materials, he couldn't help but sigh. A level 30 instance truly lived up to its name. The gear alone had to be worth hundreds of millions. He picked up a cloak, Shadow Cloak, Platinum quality, with the ability Shadow Stealth. Grants invisibility for 3 minutes, with a 2-hour cooldown. After checking everything, he found this cloak was the only one worth keeping. The rest were useless to him, so he planned to sell them and buy surprises for his little broodlings. The scene shifted as the group returned to the Night Watchers' headquarters. After listening to Marco recount everything that happened inside the instance, Commander Ji Gang could no longer stay calm. The instance mutated, Jiang Chun somehow conquered Mu Hanxiu along the way, and even more shocking, he practically cleared the entire mutated instance by himself. Ji Gang then dismissed the others, wanting to speak with Jiang Chun alone. Once the room was empty, Ji Gang's expression turned unusually serious. He told Jiang Chun to confess honestly for leniency. Jiang Chun broke into a cold sweat. What was he supposed to confess? Ji Gang, clearly unconvinced, said Jiang Chen's explanation that the poison gas counters undead might fool Chu Buelang and the others, but it wouldn't fool him. So he wanted Jiang Chun to honestly explain what he was still hiding. Jiang Chun was speechless. Things were getting troublesome. It wasn't that he wanted to hide anything. The Zerd were seen as ancient calamities in people's eyes. If the world knew the truth, would they ever let him live? But the sternness lasted only a moment. Ji Gang suddenly patted his shoulder and burst into laughter. So you can get nervous. Where did all that bravery go from killing the mutated instance? Jiang Chun finally relaxed, though his heart was still pounding. Ji Gang sat down on the sofa. I wasn't entirely bluffing, but if you don't want to talk now, I won't force you. The more trump cards you have, the happier I am. The Night Watchers will rely on you for future glory. Jiang Chun replied confidently, "Don't worry, Commander. I may not promise other things, but I'll at least get you a full set of epic gear later." Ji Gang laughed loudly. One piece of epic gear was already rare enough, let alone a whole set. Then his expression turned serious again. "Still, even if you have trump cards, there are some things you should make clear to me." As he spoke, Ji Gang waved his hand and threw out 3 mummies. Jiang Chen was puzzled and asked what they were. Commander Ji Gang's expression turned extremely solemn. These beings were at least level 60 third-turn Grandmasters, and among them were 2 level 90 plus 4th-turn Great Grandmasters. Any one of them alone was someone he couldn't guarantee defeating. At best, he would just be collecting the corpses afterward. Hearing this, Jiang Chun stared at the 3 figures in disbelief. Were they assassins sent by the Shao family? Ji Gang shook his head and explained that, while Jiang Chun had indeed offended the Shao clan, it wasn't to the point where they would take such drastic action. In reality, these people had been ordered to assassinate Mu Hanxiu, but were all killed by her protector. Jiang Chun grew even more confused. Wasn't Mu Hanxiu backed by the Markirank Mu clan? Why would anyone want her dead? Ji Gang then handed him a dossier, the Great Xia Prodigy Kill List. Rank 1. Ingzhan, level 46, descendant of the Invincible lineage. Killing him grants 3 Heaven Tier rewards. Rank 2. Ji Xinyue, level 46, Invincible lineage, 3 Heaven Tier rewards. Rank 3. Jiang Wushuang, level 45, Invincible lineage, 3 Heaven Tier rewards. Rank 12. Xiao Beian, level 41, Guardian of the Nation lineage, 1 Heaven Tier reward. These were all top prodigies of Jiang Qin's generation, and Xiao Beihan was one of them. They would each attend one of the 8 prodigy camps, with Xiao Beihan assigned to the Jiangnan camp, the same camp as Jiang Qin. Everyone knew. 7th turn becomes Marquis. 8th turn becomes Guardian of the Nation. 9th turn becomes Invincible. Among the top 100 prodigies of Great Xia, even the lowest ranked were descendants of Marquis. Thus, even though Mu Hanxiu was a descendant of one of Jiangnan's 12 Marquis clans, she only ranked 77th. Yet countless grandmasters had still been sent to assassinate her, only to be wiped out by her shadow guards. Proof of how terrifying her backing was. If Marquis-level forces were already like this, then the Guardian rank Xiao clan was on an entirely different level. Only then did Jiang Chun fully understand Commander Ji Gang's intent. He had shown all this to remind Jiang Chun to keep a low profile in the prodigy camp. Ji Gang neither confirmed nor denied it, simply saying that the more potential Jiang Chun displayed, the greater the danger he would attract, and that unless absolutely necessary, he must not casually expose his true strength. As he spoke, Ji Gang's tone grew heavier. Every prodigy had a powerful faction secretly shielding them. Although he had a good teacher, his own skills were limited, and even now he was only a 3rd-turn grandmaster, likely unable to truly protect Jiang Chun. Jiang Chun tried to reassure him, saying that what Ji Gang had revealed today was already an enormous help. Ji Gang rested his chin in his hand, deep in thought. He found it strange. If the mutated instance incident were made public, Jiang Chun would clearly rank above Mu Hanxiu on the prodigy list. Yet that girl had chosen to keep quiet and protect Jiang Chen's secret. He then stood up with a mischievous grin and urged Jiang Chun to confess honestly. Jiang Chun didn't rise to the bait. Instead, he reminded Ji Gang that it was getting late and that he should rest rather than overthinking, then took his leave. After returning to his dorm, Jiang Chun spread all the blood essences he had obtained from selling equipment across the table. He picked up one bottle and poured it directly onto the spatial mark on the back of his hand. This tier 3 blood essence was equivalent to a level 60 plus 3rd-turn grandmaster. Normally, one had to hunt hundreds of fierce beasts to refine a single bottle. By the same logic, tier 4 blood essence corresponded to a level 90 plus 4th-turn grandmaster. Soon, the system displayed a notification. The 9 miasma wings brood had begun reproducing. As the number of Zerbrudlings rapidly increased, miasmic venom started leaking uncontrollably from the back of Jiang Chen's hand. Jiang Chun tried to suppress it, but it only made the situation worse. Moments later, the venomous miasma had already filled the entire room. Seeing this, Jiang Chun shouted in frustration, asking if these little brats had forgotten their manners, eating at his home and then tearing the place apart. The more he looked at the gluttonous 9 miasma wings, the angrier he became. As expected, these troublemakers really took after their mother. Meanwhile, the system displayed Jiang Chen's current status panel, level 26 with a combat rating of 197 stars. Jiang Chun was secretly astonished. His strength was rising far too quickly. Although he was only 1st-turn level 26, his real power nearly matched that of an average 3rd-turn master. At the same time, on the other side of the Night Watcher's headquarters, Tang Jin looked at Commander Ji Gang in shock. He never expected Ji Gang to want his teacher, Wang Tiandao, to personally act as Jiang Chen's protector. Ji Gang wore a troubled expression. If Jiang Chun were just an ordinary person, none of this would be necessary. Everyone knew that within Tianjiao camp, there were no secrets. Recently, Ji Gang had sensed something terrifying from Jiang Chun, suspecting that his so-called poison class might actually be a forbidden power. Upon hearing this, Tang Jin's expression darkened. He questioned whether Ji Gang had lost his mind. Ever since the Devourer incident 600 years ago, any forbidden class appearing in Daxia had been eliminated without hesitation. If Jiang Chun truly had a forbidden class, it would have been revealed during his awakening. Ji Gang fell silent, hoping that was indeed the case. The next day, Jiang Chun followed the map Ji Gang gave him and set off toward the Tianjiao camp in the Jiangnan region. On the way, he suddenly heard an elderly voice calling for help. Looking up, Jiang Chun saw an old man with white hair hanging from a tree. Out of goodwill, Jiang Chun activated the skill growth of all things. Random, causing thick vines to burst from the ground. A moment later, the vines successfully brought the old man down. The old man slowly stood up, thanking Jiang Chun for rescuing him and asking how he wished to be repaid. Jiang Chun replied that he wanted nothing. He simply wanted directions to the Tianjiao camp. The old man chuckled when he heard that, saying it just so happened he also had business in that direction. On the way, Jiang Chun looked at the long blade on the old man's back and asked curiously, "Grandpa, you must be a transferee too, right? Why don't you store your blade in your inventory space?" The old man gave a calm smile and said he wasn't a transferee, just someone who practiced the blade. Lacking talent back then, he failed his transfer. In utter despair, he once headed into the mountains to end his life, but instead discovered an old hunter's abandoned hut and the very blade he now carried. From then on, he practiced drawing his blade every single day, doing so for half a lifetime. He then asked Jiang Chun, with a try-it-if-you-like tone, whether he'd be interested in learning blade techniques from him. But he emphasized that Jiang Chun didn't need to answer right away. If he ever wished to learn, he could come find him anytime. Before he finished speaking, Jiang Chun pointed forward. "Grandpa, isn't that the Tianjiao camp up ahead?" When Jiang Chun turned around, the old man had vanished completely, as if he had never been there. Jiang Chun assumed he left in a hurry for urgent matters. Without thinking further, he headed straight toward the Tianjiao camp. Shortly after, he received his identity wristband and officially entered the camp. All Tianjiao must take one. Unless eliminated, the wristband cannot be removed. But just after he took 2 steps, 2 graceful figures suddenly flashed in front of him. Benefactor, Master. Hearing such unusual forms of address, Jiang Chun froze. Benefactor made sense, but Master? At that moment, Luo Sandao and Mu Hanqiu met each other's eyes, and Jiang Chun realized. So the person Uncle Li mentioned who had dumped Mu Hanqiu was actually Luo Sandao. Right then, a loud crash erupted in the distance. The 3 of them turned their heads toward the sound at the same time. A military instructor dashed past Jiang Chun, muttering, "Fighting before even entering the camp?" Feeling the pressure radiating from him, Jiang Chun was stunned. A mere patrol instructor was already a 3rd-turn master. The Tianjiao camp was truly full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. But before Jiang Chun could think further, the patrol instructor was blasted back like a cannonball. He slammed into the ground with a heavy bang. Luo Sandao sighed. If even a 3rd-turn master could be blown away by the aftershock, just how strong were the ones fighting? Mu Hanqiu, born a marquis household, naturally recognized them, the top prodigies of the Jiangnan war zone. The short-haired woman was Tang Ying, an assassin-type professional and the youngest gold-ranked assassin of the Tower of Fate. Rumor had it she had just assassinated a 4th-turn grandmaster in Sakura Nation. The man radiating crimson aura was Bai Feng, nicknamed the Little God of Slaughter. He was the disciple of the East Sea Defense Line's commander and a top military prodigy, but with mental instability that made him prone to going berserk. The blue-haired swordsman was Xiao Beihan, grandson of one of Daxia's 7 nation-suppressing guardians. His profession was the Azure Lotus Sword Immortal, a rarity comparable to a god-tier class. Hearing this, Luo Sandao's face darkened. He knew Xiao Beihan well because the epic-grade longsword he carried was snatched from this very guy. Jiang Chun finally felt the true gap between real prodigies. Xiao Beihan was in a completely different league from Xiao Yuanwu. Only now did they realize it wasn't a 3-way brawl. It was 3 people joining forces to attack a single opponent. When the dust settled, they finally saw the silhouette at the center. It was Jiang Wushuang, a descendant of the invincible, ranked 3rd on the Tianjiao list. It was said he possessed a triple-class profession, and each one was a unique hidden class. No wonder the other 3 couldn't suppress him even together. Jiang Chun couldn't help but wonder, could his insect bridlings handle someone like this? Just then, Xiao Beihan descended from the sky, his sword thrusting straight toward their position. Jiang Chun moved instantly, grabbing both companions and dodging danger by a hair's breadth. Xiao Beihan glared coldly at him. "Jiang Chun, I heard you killed my cousin Xiao Yuanwu." With a swing of his arm, he pointed the sword at Jiang Chun's chest. "I may despise that trash, but you disgraced the Xiao family. So today, You die here. Jiang Chun let out a cold chuckle. The so-called nation-suppressing Shao family is truly amusing. Different strength, same rotten bones. Although he promised Ji Gang he would keep a low profile, backing down now would guarantee misery in the Tianjiao camp later. Just as they were about to clash, a sharp blade whistling sound suddenly rang out. In the blink of an eye, a terrifying slash of blade, Qi cut straight between him and Xiao Beihan. It carved a deep trench in the ground. At the same time, a familiar voice echoed from afar. Before the camp officially opens, anyone who dares cause trouble, ask my blade if it agrees. Jiang Qin froze. Wasn't that the old man he had just rescued from a tree? He turned out to be Blade King, the chief instructor of Tianjiao camp. And that casual flick of blade chi was enough to completely freeze the four top prodigies. His insect bridlings nearly shattered under the shock. Moments later, the opening ceremony officially began. The plaza erupted into noise. Never in the camp's history had a marquee-tier powerhouse presided, let alone a legendary figure who had hidden from the world for years. Was Blade King here to choose a disciple? Even the four great prodigies clenched their teeth. They had to become the strongest within the camp. Jiang Chun felt puzzled. He knew the old man was powerful, but not that his reputation was this overwhelming. Luo Sandao's eyes gleamed with respect as she leaned in to tell the legend. Blade King wasn't even a professional, yet he suppressed countless seventh-turn marquises and became the #1 marquis beneath the nation-suppressing rank. His strength could rival eighth-turn marquises. Many nation-suppressing scions and descendants of the invincible sought him as a master. Every one of them was rejected. Jiang Chun was stunned. Are you sure he's hard to apprentice under? I saved him once, and he's already eager to teach me his blade arts. Did he stumble into absurd luck? Or did the old man sense the aura of the insect race within him? His thoughts tangled into a mess. On the platform, Blade King announced a message. For several years, the Jiangnan Warzone's Tianjiao camp had ranked at the bottom. To select true prodigies, this year's Tianjiao camp would enforce a new rule, the death quota. From now on, after each round of assessment, unrestricted killing would be permitted. Each round would allow up to 10 deaths. Anyone who wished to quit could leave immediately. The moment these words fell, the entire crowd exploded. Some viewed this as an outright death trial. One misstep and they might die. But top-ranked geniuses like Jiang Wushuang remained calm. This system only benefited the strong. Xiao Beihan grinned widely. The quota seemed tailor-made for him. He planned to use Jiang Chun as his first target. Jiang Chun had his own plan. Now that killing was allowed, if conflict escalated, eliminating Xiao Beihan would be doing himself a favor. Seeing no one leave, Blade King began announcing the detailed rules. 300 participants would join the first round, but only 150 advancement tokens were hidden across the camp. By any means necessary, they had until 6 a.m. tomorrow to secure one, meaning half the camp would be eliminated. Fight freely, kill boldly, go solo, or form alliances. Tear the whole camp apart if you want. With that, Gu Kaitian announced the start of the first round. His voice had barely faded when the entire Blade camp descended into chaos, with all participants rushing inward. On the other side, Xiao Beihan approached Jiang Chen's group with his sword in hand. His target was clearly Jiang Chun, so Jiang told Luo Sandao and Mu Hanqiu to search for advancement tokens nearby. They didn't hesitate. Though Xiao Beihan was a nation-suppressing descendant, they were the only two who had seen Jiang Chen's true strength and trusted him deeply. Xiao Beihan sneered. A mere first-turn weakling, like you want to play hero? Jiang Chun ignored him, quietly gathering miasmic venom in his palm. Xiao Beihan's sword aura was formidable. Even though Jiang was far stronger now, their level gap was still huge. He wasn't sure if he could defeat him using only poison without exposing his bridlings. Xiao Beihan swung his sword, sending a slash of sword light toward him. Just as Jiang Chun prepared to block, a sharp swish sounded. The sword light shattered midair. Jiang Chun turned, confused. The one who struck was none other than Tang Ying, the gold-rank assassin from Tower of Fate. Xiao Beihan looked extremely displeased, but before he could curse, Tang Ying stormed right up to him. Xiao Beihan, did you forget our agreement? We were supposed to team up and take down Jiang Wushuang today. Yet you keep wandering off handling trivial nonsense. Don't tell me you're actually afraid of him? Provoked, Xiao Beiyan's temper flared. Just handling some family matters. I'll go kill Jiang Wushuang right now. With that, the two turned and left. Jiang Qin stood there blankly. This twist came out of nowhere, and he couldn't shake the feeling that Tang Ying was intentionally helping him. As he wondered, Tang Ying suddenly looked back and winked at him. Jiang Chun hadn't guessed wrong. Tang Ying was Tang Jin's niece. Before coming to the Tianjiao camp, she was instructed to secretly watch over Jiang Chun. Since she couldn't overpower Xiao Beihan directly, she used the Jiang Wushuang situation as a distraction. Meanwhile, on their way to track Jiang Wushuang, a man in black suddenly kneeled on one knee before Xiao Beihan. Huang Yongqiao, descendant of a six-turn exalt, here to offer 3 advancement flags. Xiao Beihan sneered. He had no need for such things. But if Huang Yongqiao wanted to prove his loyalty, he could do something else for him. At the same time, Luo Sandao found 2 advancement flags. Jiang Chan told them to keep the flags while he went elsewhere to test his luck. Just then, an arrow came whistling toward them. Jiang Chun grabbed a wooden table and hurled it toward the source of the arrow. Mu Hanqiu instantly drew her blood-red twin blades. Huang Yongqiao hovered in midair, longbow in hand, ready for another attack. Luo Sandao recognized him. Huang Yongqiao, hidden class, sun-chasing flame archer. His father is a 6-turn exalt and a subordinate of the Xiao family. Huang Yongqiao released his fingers, sending another blazing arrow wrapped in crimson flames toward them. Jiang Qin's eyes turned cold as miasmic venom surged into his palm. I don't care who you are, if you're a dog of the Xiao family, don't blame me for being ruthless. Hearing that I was only a first-turn class holder, Huang Yongqiao didn't take me seriously at all. He didn't use any defensive skills and chose to tank the toxic miasma head-on. But in just a blink, the miasma crawled over his whole body. His eyes widened. How could this be toxic miasma? Wasn't the intel saying I was a life class? Before he could fully react, the overwhelming toxic miasma swallowed him whole. The others nearby were terrified and immediately ran. Since even Huang Yongqiao wasn't my match, they would just be cannon fodder. Meanwhile, this entire scene appeared on the Tianjiao camp's monitoring screens. The instructors were stunned, a god-tier life class with a unique hidden subclass, toxic type, and he one-shot a second-turn Tianjiao without even trying. This year's competition was going to be wild. The Blade King, Gu Kaitian, slowly turned his head and ordered a few more space-type grandmasters to be on standby, ready to teleport kids out if things got too bloody. Losing Tianjiao mid-assessment would be unacceptable. Yang Guangda was about to leave when Gu Kaitian gave him another task. Prepare 10 peak tier, 3 beasts, and release them separately. Place Qingyun flags on the beasts, so the top Tianjiao will prioritize fighting them instead of slaughtering the weaker ones. At the same time, in the dark corners of the camp, Jiang Wushuang was battling against Xiao Beihan and the other 2. After a long fight, the 3 still hadn't landed a single real hit on him. Jiang Wushuang scoffed, "Even the 3 of you together can't beat me. Do you really want to force me to start killing you?" Just as they were about to strike again, the broadcast suddenly sounded. Announcement: Number 091, Huang Yongqiao, has died. Eliminator: Jiang Chun. Xiao Beihan's face instantly darkened. Though he thought little of Huang Yongqiao, the man was still a solid second-turn fighter, easily top 50 in the camp. Tang Ying was equally shocked. Tang Jin had told her Jiang Chun was a level 26 first-turn life class. Even if he was god tier, killing a level 39 combat class should have been impossible. The next announcement followed immediately. 10 peak tier, 3 beasts would be released, each carrying 3 Qingyun flags. Only those holding Qingyun flags would earn ranking rights. The top 10 would receive rewards, with first place earning 170 million and each subsequent place decreasing by 10 million. The moment the broadcast ended, Xiao Beihan and the others bolted away. After hearing the broadcast, Jiang Chun was slightly stunned. This was only the first round of the entry assessment, yet the first place reward was a full 100 million. Tianjiao camp was unbelievably wealthy. If he could take first place, plus the extra resources, his zerglings would probably start reproducing again soon. As he was thinking, a massive shadow appeared on the nearby rooftop. Seeing this, Mu Hancho warned them to be cautious. A peak tier 3 beast was equivalent to a level 80 to 93rd turn Grandmaster. Luo Sandow trembled slightly. She guessed the beast might still be in a paralyzed state, so maybe they could finish it off now. Before she could finish, Jiang Chun dashed toward the beast in a single step. But at that moment, a streak of sword light shot down from the sky. Xiao Beihan walked over slowly. He had clearly underestimated Jiang Chun. Jiang Chun had not only one shot killed Huang Yongqiao, but now dared to fight over the Qingyan banner. Today, he was determined to deal with Jiang Chun. Jiang Chun had no interest in arguing with the troublesome Xiao family members. Use whatever moves you have. As he spoke, he raised his hand and activated his toxic miasma ability. Seeing this, Xiao Beihan didn't dare relax. He drew his sword and unleashed Heaven-Earth Wind Dragon Slash, instantly dispersing the toxic miasma in front of him. Xiao Beihan now looked at Jiang Chun with a bit more respect. No wonder he was so arrogant. He even had a hidden class of the toxic type. But in front of his sword edge, none of that mattered. Mu Hanqiu quickly reacted. Strong wind suppressed toxic type abilities, so at this rate Jiang Chun wouldn't be able to win. Hearing this, Luo Sandow held her back. Our benefactor's poison isn't ordinary. Don't act rashly. Wait until he truly can't hold on. Then we'll intervene. At this moment, Jiang Chun summoned all the toxic miasma stored inside the Zerg nest. Amid the swirling miasma, a massive dark purple dragon slowly emerged. Seeing this scene, Xiao Beihan finally grew serious. He slid 2 fingers along his sword. Immediately, a giant azure lotus appeared in the sky. As he executed the sword technique, the gigantic lotus pulled the miasma-formed dragon inside. Jiang Chun let out a faint smile. This sword, Qi, perfectly blocked Xiao Beihan's view. Xiao Jiao could now devour freely without holding back. Inside the azure lotus sword, Qi, Xiao Jiao, manifested in toxic miasma, was devouring the sword energy frantically. After swallowing almost all of the sword energy inside, the toxic miasma suddenly erupted from within, blowing apart all the surrounding lotus blades. Those shattered lotus blades turned into countless projectiles rushing towards Xiao Beihan, sending him flying from the sudden attack. At this moment, Xiao Beihan's face was filled with disbelief. How is this possible? He was someone who could rival a god-tier Azure Lotus Sword Immortal, yet he couldn't defeat someone who used poison. Thinking of this, he quickly activated his Life Jade Shield, and with a loud bang, dispersed all the toxic miasma in front of him. Seeing this, Xiao Beihan let out a smug laugh. Even if your poison is strong, it still can't break the Xiao family's Life Jade. Jiang Chun felt a bit troubled. The shield really was annoying. Unfortunately, with surveillance everywhere, he couldn't let the Zerglings appear directly. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Chun turned to Luo Sandow. She was the key. Could she create a non-transparent earth shield around the entire field to block the outside from seeing anything? Hearing this, Luo Sandow immediately activated Earth Protection Shield. A massive barrier slowly formed, enveloping the entire battlefield in an instant. Xiao Beihan was completely confused. He couldn't understand why Jiang Chun didn't place the shield on himself, but instead covered the surrounding area. Jiang Chun let out a soft laugh. Xiao Beihan, why don't you boldly guess how Xiao Yuanwu died? Hearing that Jiang Chun wanted him to guess Xiao Yuanwu's death, the turtle-shelled Xiao Beihan snorted in disdain. You dare compare that trash's Life Jade to mine? Don't be naive. Jiang Chun smiled as well. And you dare compare the current me to the old me? You're the naive one. Without another word, Xiao Jiao's humanoid form condensed behind him. Jiang Chun ordered, Xiao Jiao, smash him for me. Hearing the command, Xiao Jiao, surrounded by toxic miasma, charged at Xiao Beihan. Seeing the sudden appearance of the girl, Xiao Beihan was startled. What is this? Xiao Jiao ignored him completely and began attacking the Life Jade Shield. Xiao Beihan didn't sit still either. He raised his sword and clashed with her, the sharp ringing of strikes echoing continuously. Seeing the unbroken shield and the strands of sword qi swirling around Xiao Beihan, Jiang Chun, who had been confident, felt a drop of cold sweat slide down. A sword qi barrier? I didn't expect him to still have this level of strength. At that moment, the wolf-type ferocious beast that had collapsed earlier suddenly lunged at both Xiao Jiao and Xiao Beihan. Seeing it, both halted their actions, staring at the wolf-type beast whose strength rivaled a third-turn grandmaster. Jiang Chun didn't dare delay. He released all his toxic miasma. The beast woke up, time to go all out. Right after the thought, two poison-formed dragons appeared across the plaza. Jiang Chun shouted, corrode his sword chi, cover Xiao Jiao. Zergling's fresh beast meat, first come, first served. Upon receiving the order, the two poison dragons charged at their targets. In just a short moment, all the sword chi protection around Xiao Beihan was completely corroded. Seeing that the threat was gone, Xiao Jiao eagerly walked towards Xiao Beihan. Xiao Beihan panicked inwardly. Damn it, my sword chi has been corroded. I can't deal any damage now. On the other side, despite having strength comparable to a third-turn grandmaster, the wolf-type beast could only suffer helplessly when faced with the intangible toxic miasma. As the beast's miserable cries echoed, Xiao Jiao launched a fierce assault on the Life Jade shield. The booming impact sounds reverberated within the Earth shield. Watching the Life Jade shield withstand dozens of Xiao Jiao's attacks, Jiang Chun couldn't help being stunned. So Xiao Zhenguo really is biased toward his grandsons. Xiao Beihan's Life Jade is much sturdier than Xiao Yuanwu's. But no matter how sturdy it is, Xiao Jiao smashing it is only a matter of time. If it used to take 3 seconds, now it might take 3 minutes at most. Meanwhile, in the instructor monitoring room, seeing the battlefield completely obscured, Yang Guang's heart tightened. Not good. Xiao Beihan looked like he was falling behind. Now that Jiang Chun blocked the cameras, Xiao Beihan won't get killed, right? Fang Qingyuan, use mental detection. If anything's wrong, teleport immediately. Hearing his order, a fourth-turn Grandmaster of the Space class stepped forward. Yes, Deputy Chief Instructor. Seeing Yang Guang so tense, Gu Kaitian, who was lazily lying on the sofa, spoke slowly. So what if he's some grandchild of Zheng country? He can't be injured or killed. Yang Guang turned back. Senior Gu, even if that's true, what happens if he really does get injured or killed? Are you ready to fight Xiao Zhenghua? Does Commander Duan of the Jiangnan War Zone know about this? You ordered all information inside Tianjiao camp sealed, but once this ends, the outside world will definitely find out. Hearing this, Gu Kaitian fell silent. Xiao Beihan's strength is top tier. Can Jiang Chen really kill him? And what is Jiang Chen planning by setting up that shield? Back on the plaza, after continuous corrosion by the Zerglings, the wolf-type beast let out a final shriek and collapsed heavily. Jiang Chun thought to himself, this beast is strong, but against my bugs, it really met its natural counter. Meanwhile, after continuous bombardment, more and more cracks appeared on Xiao Beihan's Life Jade shield. Seeing such a terrifying scene, he finally panicked. What is this thing? How can my Life Jade shield be beaten into this state? Watching the nearly shattered shield, Jiang Chun simply waited quietly. Xiao Beihan wouldn't last much longer. Just then, a voice suddenly echoed from within the barrier. Kid, don't overdo it. Grandmaster of the Space class, Fang Qingyuan, is coming. Jiang Chen's pupils shrank instantly. Not good. There's a Space class instructor sending a warning. I must finish this fast, or I'll be exposed. Without hesitation, Jiang Chun recalled Xiao Jiao, who had been preparing to continue the attack. One self-detonates to break the Life Jade. The rest dissolve into poison. With his will, one of the 9 miasma wings revealed its true form beside the Life Jade shield. Seeing the massive and eerie Zerg creature, Xiao Beihan's eyes widened again. What is that? Before he could ask further, the 9 miasma wings' self-detonation erupted, its explosive energy engulfing the Life Jade shield. After the previous waves of attacks, the weakened shield was pierced almost instantly. And the explosion didn't stop there. A massive mushroom cloud rose within the Earth shield. In the blink of an eye, the Earth shield was blown apart. Due to the skill backlash, Luo Sandow fell unconscious. Seeing her close friend collapse, Mu Hanqiu hurriedly supported her. Time passed, and once the dust settled, nothing remained on the ground except the wolf-type beast's 3 Qingyun banners and one severed arm of Xiao Beihan, still gripping his sword. Jiang Chun picked up the fallen sword, speaking with a hint of regret. Only an arm left, huh? Looks like he got rescued by a grandmaster. Fine, this arm will be the interest. I'll collect the principal later. He then said, Sandow, take your sword, and tossed the blade to the now-recovered Luo Sandow. After thanking him, Mu Hanqiu retrieved the Qingyun banners from the wolf-type beast. Master, 3 Qingyun banners. You're already in the top 10. Jiang Chen didn't take credit. We'll split them, 1 each. The 2 girls laughed. Luo Sandow said, My sword is enough for me. Mu Hanqiu nodded, I don't want one either. Master, take more. I want to see you crush Jiang Wushuang and take first place. While the trio enjoyed their victory, the atmosphere in the monitoring room was explosive. Yang Guang roared, Fang Qingyuan, what were you doing? Why didn't you transfer Xiao Beihan in time? With a bitter expression, Fang Qingyuan replied, I didn't want this either. The toxic miasma was too strong. My mental probe got corroded the moment it touched it. Then I heard the explosion. By the time I activated full transfer, it was already too late. Hearing this, Yang Guang's face darkened. Impossible. How could poison corrode mental power? Stop pushing responsibility around. Seeing him keep going, the Blade King finally snapped. Shut up, Yang Guang. With the chief instructor speaking, Yang Guang immediately quieted down. The Blade King said, Yang Guang, do you know why you're stuck at the peak of 5th turn? Because you pander and grovel, and you can't pass your heart's trial. All that nonsense about the consequences of provoking a national guardian, I can't be bothered to respond. Then, his expression hardened. Let me tell you, whatever I do, I'll bear it. On the Abyss battlefield, even a 9-turn invincible can die. Xiao Beihan, he's nothing. Even then, Yang Guang hesitated. But senior, not just Xiao Jinghua, even Commander Duan might. Before he could finish, the Blade King turned and walked away. Announce it inside the camp, but seal all news to the outside. Before 6 a.m. tomorrow, before the assessment ends, no eliminated candidate is allowed to leave, including Xiao Beihan. I'll head to the Jiangnan Military Command. Hearing this, Yang Guang no longer hesitated. Attention, candidate number 003, Xiao Beihan, eliminated. Eliminated by Jiang Chun. The announcement caused an uproar. What? Xiao Beihan got eliminated? The grandson of a national guardian? Did I hear that right? Meanwhile, Tang Ying and Bai Feng, who had just taken down a boar beast, froze in shock. Jiang Chun eliminated Xiao Beihan? No way. At another part of Tianjiao camp, Jiang Wushuang, sitting atop a lion beast corpse, chuckled. Interesting, truly interesting. In the Jiangnan Military Command's office, Commander Duan Xinghai slowly poured himself a cup of tea. He spoke casually, Old Gu, you came rushing here. Did you find some exceptional talent? Gu Kaitian didn't answer. Instead, he snapped his fingers and an invisible wave of spiritual energy spread from his fingertips, forming a barrier. In an instant, the entire office was sealed off from the outside world. Duan Xinghai smirked. So cautious? Seems like it's not an ordinary talent. Gu Kaitian sat down heavily and got straight to the point. Old Duan, you've seen a lot, and you're the theory type. I want to ask you something. His eyes turned firm. Can poison corrode mental power? Hearing this, Duan Xinghai became serious. In theory, yes, but it's extremely difficult. Poison and toxic miasma target the physical body. But mental power is different. It's a form of intent, formed from one's soul, origin, and consciousness. To corrode that, the toxicity required is beyond my estimation. Gu Kaitian looked relieved, then asked, have you ever seen it? Duan Xinghai stroked his stubble. Never. I didn't know a Poison King, peak of 4th turn, but even he couldn't do something like that. Then he paused and looked at Gu Kaitian. Don't tell me. A terrifying toxic-type prodigy appeared in Tianjiao camp? If someone can corrode mental power, that's a weapon of mass destruction. Gu Kaitian shook his head. He wasn't ready to draw conclusions. Seeing this, Duan Xinghai pressed him. Old Gu, when you volunteered to join Tianjiao camp, I didn't ask anything out of respect. But now you still won't tell me the truth? Gu Kaitian didn't reveal what happened inside the camp. Instead, he looked straight at Duan Xinghai. Old Duan, is there a possibility that the toxic miasma has its own consciousness? Hearing this, Duan Xinghai burst into laughter. Old Gu, are you joking? How could poison have consciousness? Unless it isn't poison at all, but a disguised form. His words cut off abruptly as both old officers froze at the same time. Duan Xinghai paused and said, wait, I remember something. In Ruin Zero, I think I once read a record about this. There was a calamity-level insect species called the Nine Miasma Wings. It can transform into a toxic form. Born in the Nine Nether, it once caused an era-ending catastrophe. Hearing this, Gu Kaitian's heart jolted and his brows tightened. Nine Miasma Wings? An ancient calamity? Seeing his reaction, Duan Xinghai laughed loudly. Scared you, huh? But relax. Those calamities went extinct long ago. Impossible for one to exist now. Gu Kaitian suddenly stood up as a spatial rift split open in the office. As expected of the commander, you can explain anything clearly. I've learned a lot today. Tianjiao camp has many matters. I'll take my leave. Duan Xinghai froze. Wait, you haven't told me who that talent is. Damn it, this old bastard's lips are sealed tight. Ignoring him, Gu Kaitian stepped through the rift into an isolated pocket of space. Nine Miasma Wings, an ancient calamity, no wonder. Jiang Chun, a single god-tier growth of all things is enough to place you at the top of the hunter rankings. Yet you also carry a forbidden existence. If this spreads, in Great Xia you'd lose your head for sure. As he thought, he recalled Ji Gang's words. Teacher, I've found an invincible prodigy. He just hasn't matured yet. And he once offended the Xiao family. I hope you can look after him in Tianjiao camp. Of course, if you take him as a disciple, even better. As he thought this, the spatial rift reopened, and Gu Kaitian cursed as he stepped out. Ji Gang, that troublesome disciple, always dumping problems on his master. He said, look after him, but he just wants me to clean up his mess. Whatever. So what if it's forbidden? A blade can slaughter all beings or protect the world. Buddha or demon, it's all in one's heart. Since I said I'd take a disciple, this kid Jiang Chun, I'll protect him. As he spoke, Gu Kaitian fired a voice transmission arrow. He thought, a calamity-class creature can't be underestimated. So to avoid misunderstandings, better send Han Yao to confirm it first. Han Yao, go investigate the Nine Miasma Wings. It concerns your junior brother. Be extremely careful. After returning to Tianjiao camp, Gu Kaitian asked Yang Guang about the assessment progress. Seeing the chief instructor return, Yang Guang reported honestly, we're near the end. Ordinary prodigies are fighting over advancement flags. 9 beasts were released. 1 remains. Lei Zhe from 10,000 Monster City and Liu Biji from Wudong teamed up to kill 1. Tang Ying and Bai Feng are working together on another. Jiang Wushuang solo killed 3 ferocious beasts, and now seems to be heading toward Jiang Chen's location. Gu Kaitian then asked about Jiang Chun. Yang Guang replied, Jiang Chun killed 2 beasts already. We just released the 9th one near him. In the assessment grounds, a massive spider beast suddenly pounced toward Jiang Chun. Seeing this, Jiang Chun grinned and summoned toxic miasma. Perfect, another one. Time to stack more devour value. With a thought, he released all the miasma. Before the spider even landed, the overwhelming toxic miasma enveloped it. Within a blink, the enormous spider was torn apart. Xiao Jiu beamed. Delicious. Delicious. Thank you, master. The devouring was unbelievably fast. By the time the corpse hit the ground, it had been fully corroded. Xiao Jiu's level rose from 21 to 22. Seeing this, Jiang Chun lit up. Xiao Jiu leveled up again, great. But before he could celebrate, a massive fist shadow of pure qi descended from above. Sensing danger, Luo Sandao and Mu Hanxiu instantly shielded Jiang Chun. Earth Protection Shield, activate. Luo Sandao shouted, staring at the giant fist. Master, someone's ambushing. Be careful. Seeing the attack, Jiang Chun immediately thought of Jiang Wushuang being besieged. Wait, you two move behind me. Before he finished speaking, the fist shadow struck. The shield cracked instantly, shattering in less than a second. Luo Sandao and Mu Hanxiu, who were standing in front of Jiang Chun, were blasted away by that terrifying strike. Jiang Chun didn't retreat even half a step and faced the incoming fist head-on. Miasma, manifest. In an instant, the toxic haze surged onto the incoming Qi-forged fist. The violent impact swept toward him. Jiang Chun stood his ground, but was forced back several meters before barely stopping. Fortunately, the miasma performed steadily and completely devoured the fist shadow. Dust billowed upward, and from within it walked out a burly man. Your poison can even erode my fist wind? No wonder the prodigies call you the poison devil, Jiang Chun. Hearing that, Jiang Chun looked at Jiang Wushuang. You really live up to being Great Xia's third-rank prodigy. That punch packed quite the force. Jiang Wushuang, are you here to steal my beast kill? Jiang Wushuang chuckled. That beast is already an empty shell after your poison. What's there to steal? Hearing this, Jiang Chen's eyes turned cold. And what do you mean? Ignoring the killing intent in Jiang Chen's eyes, Jiang Wushuang cracked his knuckles and stepped forward. Relax. I'm simply curious. I want to test you. Jiang Chun summoned the miasma again, his gaze turning icy. Your so-called test. Are you wagering lives? Jiang Wushuang clenched his fist, answering firmly, yes. At the very least, you're betting yours. Jiang Chun didn't waste another word and released all the miasma. Then come. Jiang Wushuang's face lit with excitement. Qi winds surged, and powerful energy gathered around his fist. Arm force, 1,000 blades. As soon as he spoke, the qi solidified, and the storm-like fist wind shattered the qi swirling around him. The miasma collided with the force, but in the instant they touched, the miasma was blown apart. Seeing such overwhelming strength, Jiang Chun, who controlled the miasma, was stunned. Regaining his senses, he quickly shielded his head and retreated. A violent explosion erupted before him. The shockwave hurled Jiang Chun away, dragging him across the ground for dozens of meters before he finally stopped. His thoughts tightened. His fist wind is too fierce, my poison erodes too slowly. Seeing Jiang Chun injured, Xiao Jiu inside the star sea grew anxious. Master, are you okay? Jiang Chun wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth and spoke to her, Xiao Jiu, if you devour flesh of this level, you should be able to level up several times, right? His consciousness entered the star sea. Xiao Jiu was kneeling in a praying posture. Eat, grow big. But that person, Xiao Jiu can't beat him. But Xiao Jiu is willing to die for Master. Hearing that, Jiang Chun, who always believed in her strength, was stunned. What? This is the first time I've seen Xiao Jiu scared. Do I have to use self-detonation? Jiang Chun leaned forward and looked at her. If you can't win, hide. I have other ways. No matter what, you must not die. Otherwise, everything is over. Hearing that, Xiao Jiu immediately responded. Xiao Jiu listens to Master. Since Jiang Chun hadn't attacked again, Jiang Wushuang walked toward him. What's wrong? Just one strike and you're done? That's not how someone who defeated Xiao Beihan should look. Pulling himself out of the star sea, Jiang Chun didn't use toxic miasma again. Instead, he activated his God-tier class skill, All Things Grow. His palm pressed the ground, and thick plant roots burst outward. In the blink of an eye, giant root tendrils shot toward Jiang Wushuang. As the roots converged, a barrier formed entirely from plants, enclosing both Jiang Chun and Jiang Wushuang. Inside the woven roots, Jiang Wushuang laughed loudly. So this is your God-tier talent? Interesting. What's with the barrier? Trying to hide again. Didn't Xiao Beihan lose inside a similar cage? Meanwhile, in the monitoring room, Yang Guang shouted in shock, Senior, Jiang Chun is blocking the cameras again. Gu Kaitian sighed helplessly. This brat is causing trouble again. Fang Qingyuan, be ready to pull him out at any moment. Fang Qingyuan snapped to attention. Yes, Senior. Hearing that, Yang Guang frowned. Senior, based on the fight so far, it should be Jiang Wushuang who doesn't need saving. Gu Kaiyan's eyes sharpened. I said save Jiang Chun, you idiot. Yang Guang froze, blurting out, Senior, isn't that a bit biased? Gu Kaitian roared, nonsense. Jiang Wushuang is level 46. Jiang Chun is only level 26. How is that even comparable? Outwardly righteous, inwardly he muttered, that's my future disciple. Of course I'm protecting him. Better shattered jade than intact tile. With all outside vision fully blocked, Jiang Chun no longer held back and released all of his toxic miasma at once. Toxic miasma converge. One massive, 9 miasma wings after another appeared inside the root barrier. Even Jiang Wushuang, who had witnessed countless battles, was startled. So that's it. This is your real strength? Jiang Wushuang didn't dare relax. Mountain-crushing wave. He roared. Crimson Gang Chi burst out, countless fish shadows appearing and forcefully pushing the 9 miasma wings back. Jiang Qin did not let the insects clash head-on with Jiang Wushuang in a defensive stance. He turned part of them back into toxic miasma. Then he controlled them to encircle Jiang Wushuang from all directions. The overwhelming miasma surged forward. Seeing the bizarre insects transform back into poison, Jiang Wushuang snorted layered ridges. Gang Qi coated his body, scattering the approaching miasma in an instant. His fists smashed the ground, sending countless Gang Qi fist shadows into the sky. In moments, the unguarded 9 miasma wings were utterly shredded. Seeing this, Jiang Chun controlled the remaining wings, flicked his finger, and seized an opening in the fist shadow barrage. 2 9 miasma wings shot toward Jiang Wushuang at extreme speed. Realizing the insects were targeting him directly, Jiang Wushuang stopped his skill and tightened his fists. Taking the chance, Jiang Wushuang clenched his fist. An explosive shockwave erupted beneath him. But just as Jiang Chun thought the surprise attack had landed, relying on overwhelming strength, Jiang Wushuang escaped the blast, leaping into the air. Using his falling momentum, he gathered strength again. Now I finally understand how Xiao Beihan lost. Mount Tai descent, he roared. Terrifying pressure crashed down on Jiang Chen's location, pulverizing the concrete beneath. Jiang Chen dropped to all fours, straining with his attributes just to hold on. Even so, his body trembled uncontrollably. His fist wind is several times stronger than before. So this is the power of an invincible descendant? 2 self-detonations only scattered his fist wind. They didn't hurt him at all. Don't need dozens? Hundreds? Those zerglings took so much effort to reproduce, but I have no choice. 10-fold detonation. With a single thought, 10 9 miasma wings rushed toward Jiang Wushuang and detonated simultaneously. A deafening explosion erupted around Jiang Wushuang, the blast wave crashing outward like a tidal shock. The force drove Jiang Wushuang back hundreds of meters. Seizing the brief opening, Jiang Chun activated all creation growth again, sending a swarm of massive roots surging toward Jiang Wushuang. But Jiang Wushuang didn't continue attacking. He simply waved his hand, blasting all the roots away. No need. The fight's over. Jiang Chun steadied himself, confusion written across his face. What do you mean? Jiang Wushuang looked directly at him. Jiang Chun, I acknowledge you as a worthy opponent. You're only first turn, yet you forced me to use 80% of my strength. I'm looking forward to the day you grow up. Jiang Chun was speechless. So that whole gambling with our lives talk was just to push me to go all out? Just because you wanted a decent opponent? Unbothered, Jiang Wushuang yawned. I'm sleepy. I'll go take a nap. You can handle the last beast, right? Jiang Chun frowned. You're giving me first place? Jiang Wushuang rubbed his neck and walked away. I never said that. I'm just tired. I'm leaving. Hearing his nonsense, Jiang Chun grew furious. This guy really loved putting on an act. But benefits were benefits. Jiang Chun never turned them down. Seeing his reaction, Jiang Wushuang smiled. He really had chosen an interesting rival. Meanwhile, in the instructor monitoring room, Yang Guang was frantically calling out to the poison-stricken Fang Chengyuan. Listening to the conversation on screen, Gu Kaitian spoke slowly, not abusing the weak. That's what a true invincible descendant should be. Jiang Wushuang surprised me. Send a 10th beast to Jiang Chun. Let him take the championship. The Blade King executed the command, redirecting the final beast to Jiang Chen's area. At that same moment, far away, Niahong Yao, 7th turn king and senior sister to Ji Gang, was rushing toward the Mingho ruins. Seeing the eerie landscape ahead, she frowned. This place, anyone below 6th turn might not even make it through the entrance. But after thinking it through, Niahong Yao still charged in with her blade. For the sake of her junior brother, she would endure it. With every swing, the power of a 7th turn king erupted, cutting down every undead creature along her path. After advancing for some time, A stone steel emitting an eerie aura appeared before her. That must be the one radiating that terrifying presence. But what kind of existence could leave behind such pressure that remained for centuries? As she stepped closer, the character's insect palace on the steel faintly lit up. This was an ancient information archive. The moment she sensed it, Nya Hongyao activated her divine sense and scanned the stone steel. As the scan completed, hundreds of information windows popped up. Even someone as experienced as her widened her eyes in shock. Every entry was about primordial, mythical insects. With her divine sense fully unleashed, Hongyao quickly browsed through the messages. One record depicting the 9 miasma wings was held tightly in her hand. 9 miasma wings, a catastrophic ancient species born in the deepest regions of the 9 abysses. It once caused the 4th century world-ending calamity. Now extinct, its body was dark purple, with 9 wings on its back, carrying deadly toxins capable of turning into purple miasma that could corrode all things, even the spiritual void. After reading the entry, cold sweat dripped down the king-rank warrior's face. Damn, junior brother is carrying a taboo. I have to inform Master immediately. Meanwhile, completely unaware of everything outside, Jiang Chun was being fed by his future master. Though heavily drained after fighting Jiang Wushuang, the beasts that countered him were effortlessly slaughtered. One glance, one strike, and the long serpent fell. After devouring 4 beasts, plus Huang Yongqiao, his devour value must have risen significantly. Once he obtained the first-place reward from the entrance trials, he would likely reach his second turn soon. With that thought, Jiang Chun tossed the extra 2 Qingyun banners to the 2 girls who'd been watching the whole time. 10 banners were enough for him to claim first place. These 2 extras, 1 each, at least make it into the top 10. Hearing this, both girls showed bright smiles. Meanwhile, on the other side of Qinjiao camp, with the combined efforts of Bai Feng and Tang Ying, a red bird-type beast was finally slain. Tang Ying was so exhausted she collapsed on top of the beast. The entrance trial was nearing its end. Jiang Wushuang was definitely going to take first place. Bai Feng had just finished speaking. Yang Guang's voice then echoed through the camp speakers. Entrance trial concluded. All promoted candidates assemble at the plaza immediately. Eliminated candidates must leave Tianjiao camp within 3 minutes. Violators will be executed. The announcement repeated 3 times. Hearing this message, Jiang Chun looked puzzled. The trial ended this fast? Didn't that mean all 10 beasts had been killed already? Jiang Chun thought to himself, leftover prey is still prey. Better gather the remaining beast corpses, eat whatever he could, and be quick about it. With a thought, all his miasma surged outward. Meanwhile, in the infirmary of Tianjiao camp, upon hearing the announcement, Xiao Beihan, who had already lost an arm, wore an expression of fury. Finally, I can leave. Jiang Chun, just you wait. Once I return to the Xiao clan, you'll see how my grandfather deals with you. After the promotion announcement, all candidates carrying Qingyun banners were summoned to the plaza. The Blade King once again stood on the high platform. All promoted candidates, follow me to the Forbidden Zone trial. Hearing this, the young elites below instantly panicked. This trial was never mentioned before. The 8 forbidden zones of Huaxiao were all filled with treasures and unimaginable danger. How are we supposed to even enter? There are so many of us. As the crowd grew noisy, the Blade King suddenly drew the long blade on his back. A crisp, ringing hum echoed as terrifying power erupted from him. Based on Hong Yao's investigation, Jiang Chun indeed possessed the forbidden 9 miasma wings. Dawn was approaching, and those people would arrive soon. The Blade King had to prepare early, use the time gap. Without hesitation, he shouted, "Heaven Cleave Blade," and began swinging the weapon, storms surging as each strike carried overwhelming force, blade light covering the entire field. Then, the Blade King suddenly pressed 2 fingers together, kneeled on one leg, and sent the long blade flying. The young elites below stared wide-eyed at the unbelievable scene. The falling blade light struck the ground around Tianjiao camp, and in an instant, the entire camp was carved out of the earth, slowly rising into the air. With a firm gaze at the distant horizon, the Blade King commanded blade flight toward Jiangnan's Yunming's forbidden zone. As his voice echoed, the blade beneath the ground suddenly expanded, dragging the entire floating landmass at high speed toward the distance. My God, moving the entire Tianjiao camp? Only the Blade King could do something like this. So this is the might of Huaxia's #1 king? Too terrifying. Hearing the exclamations around him, Jiang Chun turned to the two girls behind him. So, how much do you know about the Yunming's forbidden zone? The two exchanged a glance. We don't know. After her words, Mu Hanxiu spoke as well, saying she had heard from her grandfather that although Yunming's ranked last among the 8 great restricted zones of Huaxia, its true terror didn't lie in hidden killing intent, but in the distortion of time and space. Within that region were countless dimensional fragments, like bubbles connected to one another, and some fragments contained spaces even larger than the entire blue star. Hearing this, Jiang Chun widened his eyes. So the space inside Yunming's is chaotic? What about time? Mu Hanxiu continued explaining. Time should also be completely different from the outside. It's said that 100 years ago, an ordinary class changer entered Yunming's on a gamble and became a 7-turn king within 2 hours. Yet according to his own account, 200 years had passed inside. My grandfather explored that place as well. He wandered inside for 3 days, but 3 years had passed outside. After hearing this, Jiang Chun was even more shocked. So both the confusion and the opportunities in Yunming's are random? At that moment, Luo Sandow, who was equally shocked, comforted him. Benefactor, you don't need to worry. Since the Blade King dares to bring everyone inside, he must have mastered a safe route. Hearing his companion's reassurance, Jiang Chun gradually calmed down. Yunming's sounded dangerous, but it was indeed a land of great opportunity. Still, the Blade King's actions made him feel it was because of him, and he was right. Standing at the front, Gu Kaitian also wore a troubled expression. Since Hong Yao could uncover the 9 miasma wings, Xiao Jinguo will soon learn of it as well. All of Daxia won't be able to hide it. I only hope Yunming's can buy us enough time to seek allies. As they rushed toward Yunming's overnight, dawn broke, and the original location of Tianjiao camp was already surrounded by powerful figures. The Blade King actually took the entire camp away? That place holds the elite of the entire Jiangnan war zone. Is he rebelling? Why isn't Commander Duan here yet? While the crowd argued, Commander Duan rushed over cursing loudly. Gu Kaitian, you old bastard. Are you asking me to gamble my life with you? 2 minutes earlier, the Blade King's message had reached Commander Duan. Brother Duan, it's urgent. I'm taking the youngsters to the restricted zone for trial. We'll return on Tianjiao Selection Day. Handle things as normal. I alone will bear the consequences. Arriving at the foot of the mountain, Duan Xinhai was still fuming. Easy for you to say, you left me this whole mess to clean up. The moment he arrived, a group of parents and officers rushed forward. Commander Duan, we're too late. We can't catch up now. My son is still up there. What if something happens? Commander Duan raised his hand to silence them, visibly annoyed. Enough. Didn't he say they'd return on Selection Day? What's there to panic about? As he spoke, he glanced at the Tianjiao camp that had been moved whole. Old Gu. Even for that unbeatable kid, was it really necessary to rush into the restricted zone like this? No. The 9 miasma wings Old Gu mentioned earlier. Realizing this, cold sweat ran down Duan Xinhai's back, and his eyes widened to the limit. Meanwhile, the Blade King led everyone toward the Yunming's restricted zone for the trial. A psychic message from him traveled thousands of miles and reached Jigang. Jigang, Jiang Chun carries a forbidden power. This is serious. I'm taking him into the restricted zone to hide for now. Try to gather King-tier allies outside. When I return, a fierce battle may await. Reading the message, Jigang froze in his office in the Night Watcher's headquarters. He killed the Huang family's Tianjiao, cut off Xiao Beihin's arm, and now even carries a forbidden talent. This hurdle won't be easy. Seeing her chief's headache, Tang Jin softly comforted, every trial can be overcome. Since you've decided to protect Jiang Chun no matter what, then look forward. Don't dwell on what's behind. She added, I've already spoken to my father. He's willing to stand with us. With the Blade King, your senior sister, my father, and Commander Duan, 4 king tiers. Any storm can be held off. Encouraged, Ji Gang rose from the sofa and walked toward the door. You're right. Senior sister is already meeting with Master. I'm heading to visit the King tier clans. Even if the Mu family or the Shangyi Luo family trick me, I'll try to secure allies for Jiangchun. Worst case, I'll bring back the same reckless courage I had when I stormed into the Shao family to steal a bride. Tang Jin smiled softly behind him. It's been years since I've seen you look this spirited. Meanwhile, in a moving Tianjiao camp, the Blade King asked his eldest disciple, Hong Yao, what do you think we should do once we return? Chewing bubblegum, Hong Yao didn't answer directly. Instead, she said longingly, Junior brother's 9 miasma wings are so cool. I really want to raise one. With a thought, the Blade King popped the bubble at her lips. You brat, can't you be a little more serious? Hong Yao instantly switched to an obedient look. Daxia doesn't tolerate forbidden powers. You know that better than anyone. If even you can't do anything, what could I possibly do? Teacher, could you kill a national general with one slash? Hearing such nonsense, the Blade King bonked her on the head. Speak properly. He sighed, all my life's reputation, yet I ended up with disciples like you. Hong Yao is reckless, Ji Gang is stubborn, and Jiang Chun, with god-tier talent, just has to mess with forbidden powers. After saying that, Hong Yao, still sporting a big bump on her head, asked her master again, Teacher, then why must you protect Jiang Chun? Hearing this, the Blade King lifted his gaze toward the sky, recalling the past. Why? Back then, I took you as my disciple simply because your red armor looked festive. As for Ji Gang, that was even more random. He mistook me for an old pervert at the door of a club. When a Shao family's heir tried to forcefully marry Tang Jin, Ji Gang went to snatch the bride. I was ready to risk my life to protect him. Does something like that need a reason? I act on conviction, that's all. Now Jiang Chun is the same. The moment I saw him, I felt he suited my taste. Since Ji Gang wanted him, he became my disciple. Why wouldn't I protect him? Hearing her teacher's words, Hong Yao shuffled over with small steps. I knew it. You're the best teacher in the world. Tough mouth, soft heart, and always the most protective. The Blade King only replied, don't flatter me. Hong Yao then gently leaned her head on her master's shoulder. Teacher, if you want to protect little junior brother, there's only one way. One of Daxia's 3 invincibles, supreme commander of the military, Jiang Wushuang's grandfather, the war god Jiang Xuanji. Meanwhile, on the 10,000 races battlefield, a massive fist slammed down toward the earth, sending every human nearby flying from the terrifying force. A real man never looks back at an explosion after the strike landed. The invincible war god strode toward the abyss entrance. Any one of the 10,000 races who dares trespass into Daxia, kill without mercy. As he walked out from the center of the impact, the ground he struck collapsed in an instant, leaving a deep pit hundreds of meters wide. Those hit by the blow had no life remaining. After this battle, the 10,000 races would stay quiet for a while, guard the abyss entrance well. As the officers responded in unison, a communication from his grandson, Jiang Wushuang, suddenly appeared in Jiang Xuanji's mind. Wushuang is at the Tianjiao camp. Why is he contacting me now? But just as Jiang Xuanji wondered about this, the Blade King's projection appeared. Seeing that someone else answered through Wushuang's emergency link, the war god was surprised. Blade King? You contacted me through Wushuang? Did he cause trouble in the camp? The Blade King spoke calmly. No, he's doing very well. I contacted you because I want to make a deal. Jiang Xuanji skipped the small talk. What is it? The Blade King didn't hide anything. I've taken a new disciple, Jiang Chun, a life class at the divine grade, but he carries the forbidden 9 miasma wings. I want you to protect him. Hearing this, Jiang Xuanji's expression instantly turned cold. The ancient calamity, the 9 miasma wings? Are you joking? When it comes to forbidden beings, Daxia always kills first and never hesitates. Do you think a war god can solve everything? The Blade King's eyes sharpened. Isn't that your job? Without arguing further, Jiang Xuanji asked what he would receive in return. The Blade King answered without hesitation. You've heard of the Taishu Palace in Yunming's, right? I'm the only one in Daxia who knows the path. I can take Jiang Wushuang there and grant him a fortune. Hearing the words Taishu Palace, the invincible war god finally hesitated. The legendary Heaven Dao sanctuary. If Wushuang goes there, his cultivation will soar. Returning from contemplation, Jiang Xuanji spoke calmly. I can accept your terms, but only if Jiang Chun never uses the 9 miasma wings again in the Tianjiao tournament. And if he fails to take first place on the national Tianjiao ranking, I'll throw him into the 10,000 races battlefield to fend for himself. After hearing Jiang Xuanji's words, the Blade King felt troubled. Before he could speak, Jiang Xuanji added, if you truly want to keep him alive, you have no other choice. After calming himself a little, the Blade King no longer hesitated. Fine. Throwing him onto the battlefield is still better than letting Xiao Jinghua and the others kill him as soon as he returns. With that thought, the Blade King's phantom slowly faded away. Jiang Xuanji thought to himself that the ancient species' 9 miasma wings forming a calamity-level outbreak in this era was impossible. Besides, this year's Daxia had already produced 3 God-tier awakeners. Jiang Chun would only be the 4th, and even then a life type. Without invoking taboos, he couldn't even pass Wushuang, let alone take first place. Even if Jiang Chun truly stirred up waves, as a martial god, Jiang Xuanji could kill any evil creature in an instant. The scene shifted. The Blade King was already riding his flying sword into the Cloud Dream Marsh Forbidden Zone. Faced with the countless spatial shards around them, Jiang Chun couldn't hide his shock. So we've officially entered Cloud Dream Marsh? Do either of you remember the way we came? Hearing this, Mu Hanqiu widened her eyes. In constantly moving dimensional fragments like these, memorizing routes is impossible. She continued, the Blade King relies on fate links to navigate. Cloud Dream Marsh has 10 layers. Layers 10 and 9 are still relatively safe. The deeper you go, the easier it is to get lost. My grandfather disappeared on layer 7. Without further words, the 3 of them sat cross-legged together. Jiang Chun said, I feel like I'm already lost. Since the route can't be remembered with eyes or mind, we might as well meditate and let our spiritual sense guide us. When his consciousness sank into his mindscape, he saw the all-life ancestral tree, its leaves drifting toward the same direction. Witnessing this, he couldn't help murmuring, there's no wind in the mindscape, so the direction the ancestral tree leans. Could that be our destination? Or is something ahead drawing it strongly? As that thought crossed his mind, his sight brushed across a bright red fruit on the ancestral tree. It instantly caught his attention. The ancestral tree bore fruit? Before he finished speaking, the system message echoed in his mind. You have obtained the functional red fruit. Function: Information Ability Replication Card. The system's description followed. Upon use, you may randomly copy one ability from a target and integrate it into yourself, unrestricted by class. There is a chance of anomalies during replication. The ability may downgrade or upgrade. Note: use within 3 hours or the card will expire. After reading the explanation of the fruit, Jiang Chun was stunned on the spot. Ability replication? And with no class restriction? Every trainee in Tianjiao camp was an elite. Didn't this mean he could pick anyone he wanted? Naturally, the most valuable ones would be Jiang Wushuang, Bai Feng, and Tang Ying. But he quickly calmed down. No, replication was random. What if he copied a useless skill? That would be terrible. 3 hours left. Was he really going to gamble? While he was debating internally, Blade King's voice echoed outside. Kids, we've reached the 6th layer of Cloud Dream Marsh. This place is called the Void Realm. Up ahead is the Taishu Palace. Stay sharp. His consciousness returned, and Jiang Chen's eyes lit up. Right, there's also the old man. The old man said he only had one move, and even wanted to take Jiang Chun as his disciple. If he copied that move in advance, it would count as preparation. Looking at the floating staircase and the Taishu Palace above it, he couldn't hide his amazement. Even the geniuses who had seen countless miracles could no longer remain calm. So this is the Taishu Palace? We're going to strike gold this time. A legendary king was crowned right here. Forget becoming a king. Even Daxia's dreamer, one of the 3 invincibles, comprehended his path in this place. As excited chatter filled the area, Blade King spoke again. The Taishu Palace has 3 trials. First, 1,008 steps. Each step gives a chance at a heavenly Dao reward. Second, the void steel. I've never touched it. Only the dreamer from the capital has reached it. As for the third trial, it's inside the temple. No one has ever entered. This staircase will serve as your final test. When all 150 of you finish climbing, the top 10 will represent the Jiangnan War Zone in the Daxia Grand Finals. The Taishu Palace trial begins now. With his command, all the geniuses surged forward toward the staircase. Luo Sandao was eager to rush out as well, but just as she yelled charge, Jiang Chun caught her by the collar. What's the hurry? The temple isn't going anywhere. Then he pointed toward the few trainees still meditating behind them. See? They're not rushing. They're adjusting their state. With that, the three of them also sat down to meditate. Master is right. Each person only gets one attempt at the Taishu Palace. We must reach our peak state before climbing. Seeing the scene below, the Blade King standing atop, Nie Hongyao's longsword spoke calmly. These little ones can still stay steady and not rush. Not bad. Watching the Blade King not far away, Jiang Chun felt a surge of excitement. Now or never. With adjusting state as my cover, I have to copy the old man's heaven-opening blade before the duplication card expires. With a glance, the system interface appeared before him, ability duplication card. Selected target, Gu Kaitian. Note, variations may occur during duplication. The ability may downgrade or upgrade. Begin random duplication. Treating a dead horse like a living one, Jiang Chun answered firmly. Yes, start duplicating. Please let my luck be decent. As long as it doesn't downgrade, I'm satisfied. As he thought that, another prompt appeared. Duplicating ability, heaven opening metal. Beginning duplication. Seeing this, Jiang Chun froze. The old man didn't lie to me. He really only has this one move? As realization came, the shifting environment drew his attention. Wait, this place is... Before he could think further, a pair of hands gripped a long sword and slashed down, releasing a terrifying force. Is this Senior Gu practicing his blade? But when a view shifted, Jiang Chun found himself shirtless, holding the same type of blade as Senior Gu. His pupils shrank. No, it's me practicing the blade. His body was completely out of his control, repeating the same downward slash. 10 years, 20, 40. He slashed the blade day after day for decades. Heaven-opening blade cut. The blade fell, striking the mountain peak beneath his feet. The mountain split cleanly in half, the massive peak cleaved by that terrifying strike. I finally copied the Blade King's technique. Duplication progress, 120%. Congratulations, acquired skill. Blade of man, acquired skill. Blade of earth. Acquired skill, Blade of heaven. Acquired divine ability, Blade of the Great Tao. Sitting cross-legged, Jiang Chun was startled. My luck is insane. Not only did I copy everything, I even managed to split the heaven-opening blade into 4 forms. Not seeing Jiang Chun begin climbing the steps, the Blade King and Nie Honyao both cast doubtful looks his way. Jiang Wushuang and the others already started climbing. Why is he the only one still sitting here? What's wrong with Little Junior? Did he fall asleep? Looking in Jiang Chen's direction, Gu Kaitian also felt puzzled. Strange, adjusting one state shouldn't take this long. Just as the Blade King spoke, the red long-handled blade underneath Nie Honyao suddenly hummed and began shaking. Shocked, Nie Honyao frowned. Teacher, my blade heart is resonating. Hearing this, the Blade King, who had already sensed his own weapon's abnormality, widened his eyes and looked toward Jiang Chun. Not just your blade. Even my blade heart is resonating. At the same time, the massive longsword carrying the entire Tianjiao camp also showed the same resonance. Could it be that junior brother Ji succeeded? He was once a rare prodigy, but too stubborn, always insisting he could dismantle the heaven-opening blade into 4 moves. That's why he stayed stuck at third-turn Grandmaster for years. Did he finally figure it out? Hearing his disciple's speculation, the Blade King still couldn't decide. Maybe either Ji Gang really succeeded, or... He stopped mid-sentence, frowning as he glanced toward Jiang Chun. Jiang Chun, that flash of aura just now felt familiar. No, impossible. Absolutely impossible. It must be some illusion caused by the Taishu Hall. As the Blade King was thinking, Nie Honyao suddenly shouted beside him, Teacher, look, Little Junior has started moving. She stomped nervously. So tense. I wonder how many steps he can reach. I barely reached 301 back then, and junior brother G was even worse. Only I seriously don't know how the Dream Master reached the top. Terrifying. Time passed quickly, and the speed of the climbing geniuses visibly slowed down. Heir of the Invincible, Jiang Wushuang, 289 steps. Little Butcher of the East Sea, Baifeng, 253. Assassin of the Tower of Fate, Tang Ying, 248. Young Lord of Myriad Demon City, Lei Zhe, 211. Little Taoist of Wudong, Liu Biji, 208. Descendant of a King, Mu Hanxiu, 199. Luo Sandow of the Merchant Croc Luo clan, 170. Seeing the ranking stabilize, many geniuses who had already given up started complaining. If I had known we were coming to Taishu Hall, I would have stocked up on mental boosting meds. The first 100 steps are illusion trials. I'm a gunner class, this totally counters me. And later it's worse. Gravity tests. Every step feels like carrying mountains. Their gazes shifted toward Jiang Chun, who was preparing to climb. Look, the poison demon is starting. Bet he'll be another Jiang Wushuang. Ignoring all the chatter, Jiang Chun took his first step toward the stairway. Illusion trials first with his mental strength. It shouldn't be hard. Just as he was thinking this, a blue-haired, red-robed figure suddenly blocked his path. Jiang Chun, you dare lay a hand on my Shao clan's direct heir? Today this old man will make sure you die without a grave. Seeing the man in front of him dressed like this, Jiang Chun had no idea what was happening and froze for a moment. You're Shao Xinghua? The man ignored Jiang Chun completely and swung his longsword at him. Jiang Chun reacted quickly, summoning his miasma at once. But it was like an ant trying to shake a tree. The moment the attack touched it, the miasma was blasted apart, and Jiang Chun was sent flying backward. My insects can't block him at all. At that moment, several figures rushed in front of Jiang Chun. It was Tang Jin, Ji Gang, and the other Night Watchers. Chin, we'll hold him off. Run. As soon as they finished speaking, Shao Xinggua's voice sounded again. Ji Gang and the others blocking Jiang Chun were cut down instantly. Anyone who blocks me dies. The scene snapped back to reality. Jiang Chun, who had just stepped onto the first stair, was trembling uncontrollably. The veins on his neck bulged, and tears slid down from his eyes. Seeing this, Nie Hongyao felt a chill. Little junior brother, stuck at the very first step? The Blade King explained, these steps test mental strength, physique, agility, and power. All the other prodigies grew up with precious tempering treasures, but Jiang Chun is a wild cultivator. This trial may hit him harder than anyone. Nie Hongyao was speechless. No way, ba. Then your bet with the martial god. Doesn't that mean little junior will be thrown into the myriad race battlefield? Meanwhile, inside the illusion, Jiang Chun completely gave up struggling. Go ahead and kill me. I got everyone killed. I don't want to live anymore. Just as he said that, and the phantom Shao Xinghua was about to strike, a white vine suddenly blocked the attack. In the next moment, a vine appeared and pierced straight through the phantom Shao Xinghua. Seeing this, Jiang Chun snapped out of his grief. The tree of all things, this is an illusion. As his consciousness returned, he looked at the floating steps before him and cursed, damn, I really got pulled into an illusion just now? It felt way too real. No, real my ass. Uncle G and the others died, and instead of fighting, I begged for death? What kind of fragile crybaby does that make me look like? Screw you. This illusion is just messing with people. Tree Grandpa, come with me. Let's wreck this thing. After Jiang Chun cleared the first step, the reward from the Taishu Hall arrived as expected. Congratulations, you obtained Star Source Shards times 5. Star Source Shards. 1,000 shards combined into one complete Star Source. Upgrading skills level 1 to 3 requires 10 Star Sources. Level 4 to 6 requires. Reading the description, Jiang Chun stepped onto the second step and froze. Star Source Shards? Each shard goes for tens of millions on the market. And the first reward is already this generous? Using them to level skills isn't ideal for me, but selling them would feed the little bugs for a good while. But wait, why didn't the second step trigger an illusion? Entering his mind sea, Jiang Chun looked at the tree of all things and suddenly understood. Turns out the tree of all things completely blocked the illusion. Tree Grandpa is insane. Seeing Jiang Chun still unmoving, the prodigies below began whispering. This poison demon is acting weird. He was crying and raging forever on the first step, and now he's laughing like a maniac on the second. Look at him. Don't tell me he's getting blasted off on step 2. If so, he'll be the weakest one here. Hearing all kinds of mockery from behind, Jiang Chun stood on the second step and let out a dismissive snort. Next, he'll show them what a stroll-like crushing really is. But with the elders watching, should he act humble first? One glance upward made that thought disappear instantly. Humble my ass. Jiang Wushuang is almost at step 300. He'd better catch up first. Seeing Jiang Chun stand still for a while, Nihong Yao finally gave up struggling. Junior brother really isn't making it. Stuck on the second step again. Looks like he won't even beat the timer. Before she finished, the Blade King's expression suddenly hardened. Wait, look. Camera panned toward the Taishu Hall steps. Jiang Chun had dropped the idea of pretending and began climbing while humming a tune. Witnessing this, the prodigies who thought he'd be last were stunned. What the hell is this? He's singing and already at step 100? Don't tell me he liked the illusions on steps 1 and 2? As expected of the poison demon, never follows the script. Time flew. Jiang Chun climbed almost 1 step per second and soon overtook Luo Sandao and Mu Hanqiu at step. The two stared at Jiang Chen's graceful back, and Mu Hanqiu immediately fell into a daze. Master's back is so handsome. Even if she risks her life, she must reach step 300. Meanwhile, seeing Jiang Chun advancing effortlessly towards step 300, Nihong Yao felt her worldview collapse. Master, is the Taishu Hall's trial malfunctioning? Junior brother is already past 200 steps, and he's not even slowing down? The Blade King, equally shocked, sighed. Even I have never seen something like this. Without stopping, Jiang Chun shot straight past the 250th step in one breath. Seeing him appear, Liu Bizi and Lei Zhe were both stunned. By the 3 pure ones, how is Taoist Jiang this fast? Is the poison demon even climbing the same staircase as us? Or am I stuck in an illusion? Ignoring the shocked gazes behind him, Jiang Chun looked up at the 3 figures ahead. Why are they all stuck at step 299? At the same time, seeing the trio standing side by side on step 299, the Blade King also turned his gaze toward them. Every 300 steps form one tier. Even for prodigies, crossing it is extremely difficult. Hearing this, Nihong Yao recalled her own climb. Yes, I practically risked my life to cross it. After that, every single step feels like a mountain. I wonder who among this year's prodigies will cross the first tier first. As the two spoke, Jiang Chen's figure arrived at steps. Seeing him, the 3 ahead all looked at him. Jiang Chun, for you to reach here, you didn't disappoint me. But I'll be going first. As soon as he said that, a terrifying surge of power erupted from Jiang Wushuang's body, and chains of void-like energy materialized around him. Jiang Chun froze for a moment. My God-tier spirit master talent is resonating? Is Jiang Wushuang also God-tier? But I've never heard of it. Are these chains meant to conceal his true strength? As he wondered, the chain shattered. Jiang Wushuang's aura peaked, and he stepped into the 300th step. Test passed. Streams of purple chi flooded directly into his body. Seeing this, Bai Feng and Tang Ying widened their eyes. So that purple chi is the 300-step reward? As expected of Jiang Wushuang. Hearing their voices, Jiang Wushuang slowly turned around. The Taishu Hall stairway has 1,008 steps. Every 300 steps form a tier, and crossing it grants great fortune. This layer appears to test willpower, but in truth, it measures the strength of one's soul. As he spoke, he lifted his gaze toward the wildest among the 3, Jiang Chun. Your background is poor, and you've never been tempered by heavenly treasures. Compared to us, your foundation is lacking. As my whetstone, I suggest you take it steady and not rush a breakthrough. Under the 3 prodigies' nearly bulging eyes, Jiang Chun simply stepped onto the 300th step, feeling absolutely no pressure. He glanced at Jiang Wushuang, whose eyes were about to pop out. Bro, are you acting? Is this thing supposed to be difficult? Jiang Chun received his 300-step reward as well. Congratulations. You have passed the Taishu Hall's 300-step trial. Reward, Origin Crystal. Seeing the sparkling crystal, Jiang Chen's pupils widened. Origin Crystal? This reward is insane. My insect babies can't use it, but Uncle G has been stuck at third turn for years. This thing is way stronger than that epic gear I promised him. While he was thinking, Xiao Jiao immediately rushed up with sparkling eyes. Master, hurry climb climb. The stone tablet. We want eat. Hearing that, Jiang Chun returned to reality and looked toward the Taishu Hall. Eat the tablet. You mean the Taishu tablet up there? Xiao Jiao nodded hard. Yes, the stone tablet. Before Jiang Chun could ask further, a surge of violet qi, visible only to him, wrapped around his entire body. The next moment, caught completely off guard, the violet qi shoved him toward the Taishu Hall. He shouted inwardly, wait, even if you want to eat it, you don't have to physically push me up there. Meanwhile, behind him, Jiang Wushuang and the others watched Jiang Chun sprint toward the Taishu Hall at 3 steps per second, their jaws nearly falling off. Holy crap, is this guy even human? Before the shock settled, a terrifying aura erupted from within Jiang Wushuang. In the next instant, masses of flesh formed behind him, 6 arms emerging in total. He roared, no, you cannot surpass me, and charged toward the Taishu Hall at full speed. Seeing this transformation, Bai Feng, standing behind Jiang Wushuang, widened his eyes in shock. Holy, he actually mastered Jiang the war god body. The next moment, a surge of fury burst from deep within him. Bai Feng's face twisted, his eyes turning blood red as he growled, damn it, Jiang Chun, Jiang Wushuang, people like you are so damn annoying. You should all die. Kill, kill, kill. Let the demon god stain the sky red. As he roared, countless blood-red spirits erupted wildly from around his body. A heartbeat later, his potential exploded, and Bai Feng shot forward, chasing after Jiang Wushuang toward the Taishu Palace. Seeing the two charge past the 300-step like madmen, Liu Baizi and Lei Zhe, who had just caught up, fell into despair. What the hell? How are they all this monstrous? Lei Zhe glanced at Tang Ying, still on step 299. Tang Ying, don't tell me you're a monster too? Tang Ying turned her head and replied calmly, don't be ridiculous. I'm just an assassin. I'm nowhere near their level. Hearing that, Lei Zhe finally breathed out in relief. Good. I thought only me and the Tao priest were trash. But before he finished speaking, a powerful wave of energy suddenly surged from Tang Ying's body. In the next instant, under the utterly speechless gazes of the two behind her, Tang Ying transformed into a black serpent and shot forward, chasing after the 3 ahead. Lei Zhe muttered, Tiger Grandpa didn't lie. People outside are terrifying, and they even lie. Back in the day, he almost got tricked into becoming someone's mount. Liu Biji agreed wholeheartedly, sighing, these were our peerless prodigies. Anyone would envy them, especially fellow Jiang, walking as if taking a stroll. Terrifying. Meanwhile, outside the arena, seeing the 4 charging toward the Taishu Hall, Nia Hongyao's eyes widened. She shouted, what the hell is going on? Jiang Wushuang burst out 8 arms. Bai Feng turned into a little god of slaughter. Tang Ying stopped pretending, and little junior brother is insanely strong. He single-handedly shattered everyone's mentality. Hearing this, the Blade King roared with laughter. As expected of the disciple I chose. Sweeping her gaze downward and seeing Jiang Chun about to reach the summit, Nia Hongyao grew even more shocked and yelled, no way. In just one blink, little junior brother is about to reach the top. Second person in history. Without any pause, under Xiao Jiao's forceful shove, Jiang Chun was pushed straight to the Taishu steel. But just before he reached the steel, Nia Hongyao, who had been watching him closely, dropped her playful smile and shouted in shock, wait, what is junior brother trying to do? Meanwhile, atop Taishu Hall, Jiang Chun hid nothing. He opened the insect hive and released a surge of choking miasma, shouting, come out, take whatever you want. Seeing him release the black fog without the slightest hesitation, Nia Hongyao grew even more confused. That's the 9 miasma wings? He released all of them and wrapped the Taishu steel? What is he planning? That steel is unbelievably mystical. Even the invincible dreamer couldn't leave a mark on it. Before the words even faded, the Taishu steel vanished right before everyone's eyes. Nia Hongyao cried out, where's the Taishu steel? Hearing her shout and seeing it for himself, Even the experienced Blade King widened his eyes. He took the Taishu steel for himself? How is that possible? Watching Jiang Chun take the steel, Jiang Wushuang, who had been sprinting madly upward, slowly came to a stop. He spoke in a deep voice. Jiang Chun, I lost this time. When the great Xia prodigy ranking battle arrives, I will go all out. With that, Jiang Wushuang turned and walked down from the steel. Seeing their former rival retreat, Bai Feng and Tang Ying were both stunned. Bai Feng said, even Jiang Wushuang gave up. Let's retreat too. Tang Ying added softly, yes, climbing any further will damage our foundation. It's not worth it. Compared to the despair of the other three, Luo Sandao and Mu Hanxiu, still lingering around the 300 step, were instead full of joy. Master is truly incredible, but at least we completed our task as well. Time passed, and the rankings of Taishu Hall's climb were gradually listed. Jiang Chun, 1,008 steps. Jiang Wushuang, 623. Bai Feng, 609. Tang Ying, 600. Lei Zhe and Lu Biji, 304. Luo Sandao and Mu Hanxiu, 300. Watching the prodigies walk down from the floating steps one after another, the Blade King couldn't help showing a pleased smile. Without Xiao Chun, the kids wouldn't have reached this level. Hearing that, Niahanyao laughed. Yeah, junior brother is insane. This new generation is way stronger than ours was. Still not seeing Jiang Chun descend, Niahanyao turned her gaze upward and said doubtfully, everyone is down already. Why is junior brother still standing there spacing out? At that moment, inside Jiang Chen's Star Sea world, Xiao Jio's devour value was skyrocketing by tens of thousands at a time, and her level had soared straight to level 25. He wondered when Xiao Jio said, eat the steel, did she mean bringing it back to the hive? She looks like she's really enjoying it, and even leveled up multiple times. The little insect's devour values are also exploding. At this rate, the third generation might emerge soon. Does this steel have some connection to the 9 miasma wings? Thinking so, he checked the Taishu steel's description. Taishu steel, originally part of an abyssal formation, located at the bottom of the abyss. A half-living miraculous object, and one of the abyss's primal sources. The steel comes from the abyss, and Xiao Jio is the abyss lord. No wonder. As he pondered this, the Taishu Hall behind him suddenly erupted with violet light. Just as he wondered what it was, the light surged straight into his body. Then a message appeared in front of his eyes. Lord of the Taishu realm, you have been recognized as the sole master of the Taishu realm. No matter where you are, a single thought allows instant return. The Taishu Hall's gate cannot be opened by anyone except the master. He thought to himself, Lord of the Taishu realm? Could the Taishu steel be the core of the Taishu realm? Instant teleportation, no one else can open it. This Taishu Hall could be my ultimate trump card. Realizing this, he quickly leaped down from the Taishu Hall, thinking, too many eyes on me right now. I shouldn't enter the main hall yet. Better wait for the right moment. Seeing him leave the Taishu Hall, and before he even touched the ground, Gu Kaitian and Nie Hongyao intercepted in midair with lightning speed. The Blade King said, Jiang Chun, come with me. Before he could respond, the Blade King and Nie Hongyao took him away in front of everyone's eyes. The prodigies below murmured among themselves. The Blade King caught the poison demon. Must be about the Taishu steel. Serves him right for being so arrogant. After bringing him to a secluded place, the Blade King asked, even the great dreamer, one of the 3 invincibles of Daxia, could only observe the Taishu steel, never take it. Speak, how did you use the 9 miasma wings to take it away? Hearing the name, 9 miasma wings, his expression darkened. He thought, crap, he knows about them. Did he bring me here to kill me? Seeing his tense face, the Blade King snorted. Brat, did you really think turning the 9 miasma wings into poison miasma could fool anyone? Nie Hongyao burst into laughter. Junior brother's stunned face is so cute. Seeing their reactions, his fear slowly faded. Looks like they aren't going to kill me. Might as well tell the truth. With that in mind, he slowly explained, because the 9 miasma wings and the Taishu steel both come from the abyss, they share the same origin. Or rather, the Taishu steel originally belonged to the 9 miasma wings. Hearing his explanation, the Blade King's expression darkened. So that's how it is. Kid, you should know Daxia's stance toward taboos. You now have only two choices: stay in Yunming's forever and live as an exile, barely keeping your life, or come back with me and fight your way through. Those wanting you dead could number in the millions, possibly even invincible nation-guarding powerhouses. His heart trembled as confusion rose within him. So it really wasn't my imagination. The old man came to Yunming's just to prepare a retreat for me. But why? We only met once. Seeing him still frozen, Niahongyao leaned toward him. What are you spacing out for? Master asked you a question. Snapping out of his thoughts, determination surfaced in his eyes. He may bear a taboo, but he only kills bad people. He hasn't done anything wrong. If his heart is clear, why should he run? Hearing this, the Blade King burst out laughing. As expected of a disciple, I chose. My heart follows the heavens. If you've done no wrong, why endure? Back then, your brother Ji wasn't nearly as bold as you. Hearing Jishu's name, he asked, confused, what does that have to do with Jishu? Niahongyao patted his shoulder. Remember, I'm her senior sister. Your Jishu is your second senior brother. Back then, your second senior brother stormed the Shao clan to stop your Aunt Tang's forced marriage. He was almost killed by Xiao Jinghua. Master told him to fight to the end, but he didn't want to implicate Master. In the end, he left in exile to Chujiang City. Hearing this, understanding dawned on him. So that's how it is. Jishu also had a grudge with the Shao clan. Turning around, the Blade King spoke calmly. Old matters need not be brought up, whether invincible or nation-guarding. As long as your heart is firm, we stand together as master and disciple. When we return to Jiangnan, my blade will carve open a path for you. Hearing those words, Jiang Chun felt his heart surge and couldn't help shouting, Master. He then knelt before the Blade King, bowing solemnly. Master, please accept my salute as your disciple. At the same moment, inside an office building in Jiangnan, a group of uniformed kings were holding an emergency meeting. Once everyone had arrived, Commander Duan spoke slowly. Since all 12 kings of Jiangnan are here, except Gu, Kaitian, and Niahongyao, I'll get straight to the point. According to verified investigation, the poisonous entity in Jiangsheng did originate from the 9 miasma wings. Under Article 1 of the Grand Xia Forbidden Codex, anyone who awakens a forbidden class or wields a forbidden item is to be executed on sight. What are your opinions? At that, Mu Hinyang, grandfather of Mu Hanxiu, stood up first. Though the 9 miasma wings once caused a cataclysm, reaching that scale again is nearly impossible today. My view is simple. Enforce strict supervision on Jiangchun. If necessary, seize the 9 miasma wings and destroy them. Taking his life is unnecessary. Tang Wanchan, father of Tang Jin, immediately agreed. I support Elder Mu. The Codex was drafted 5 centuries ago, when Grand Xia was weak. Now that our nation is strong, our approach to forbidden matters can and should be flexible. As soon as the two finished, the other kings began mocking openly. Didn't take long to expose who's siding with Jiangchun. Jiangchun is under Ji Gang's wing. Tang Wanchan, your daughter Tang Jin and Ji Gang's little affair is hardly a secret. And Mu Hanyang, your granddaughter's ambiguous relationship with Jiangchun in Tianjiao camp is all over the city. Before anyone could continue arguing, a terrifying blast struck. The steel office door instantly exploded into dust. Everyone turned toward the entrance, where Xiao Jinghua walked in, murderous intent flooding the room as he shouted, Jiang Chun must be executed on sight. Raising his sword, he pointed at the kings present and barked, anyone who dares speak for Jiang Chun, ask my blade first. Seeing Xiao Jinghua charge in alone, Duan Xinghai stiffened inwardly. Gu Kaitian, if no nation-suppressing general had stepped in, I might still help you negotiate. But now you're on your own. Don't let your blind protection drag you down as well. Time passed. Commander Duan arrived at the emptied Tianjiao camp. His men reported, Boss, Xiao Jinghua mobilized the Heaven's Punishment Squad. They're all ambushed on a mountain ridge. Ji Gang snorted, such a big setup. Jiang Chun and the others should be back soon. Ji Gang slowly drew his sword. If a fight breaks out, Tang Jin and I will draw blades together. Old grudges and new ones settled at once. Duan Feng, Chu Jiang, the Night Watchers will be in your hands afterward. Duan Xinghai, possibly actually named Chu Jiang, wave his hands. No, I helped you in that elopement mess back then. I could still make chaos now. Give it to Buelang. Chu Buelang rolled his eyes. Get lost. I love chaos. How could something this fun leave me out? Yin Xiaoka puffed up proudly. Don't look at me. I'm a healer. You'll need a main support. Tang, he chuckled. Old G, we're all family. Don't act like an outsider. At that moment, Tang Jin pointed at the distant sky. Look, isn't that Jiang Chun and the others? Meanwhile, on the other side, they too spotted the returning group. Xiao Yuanshan ordered, target confirmed. Heaven's Punishment Squad, prepare. In unison, the Xiao clan elites in unified gear raised their crossbows. Seeing the Xiao clan's formation ready for battle, Nia Hongyao grew excited. This looks just like when we helped you crash that wedding. Little brother, I didn't get to fight enough last time. This time I'm going all out. The Blade King scolded instantly. Behave. With so many watching, at least pretend to offer courtesy before fighting. Otherwise, people will think my lineage is full of barbarians. Nia Hongyao scoffed. Says you, your killing intent is worse than mine. Like master, like disciple. Then he looked toward Jiang Chun. Right, little junior? Seeing Jiang Chun remain completely calm despite the massive lineup below, Nia Hongyao frowned. Hey, why are you spacing out again?